Peace and love, Black family. This is the Prince of Pan-Africanism coming to you live and direct from Buffalo, New York. Today, we're going to have a special Black parent teleconference call. I now refer to the Black parent teleconference movement as the Underground Railroad because that is how I see it. I see it as myself and many of you who are helping me as the lead conductor of this 21st century Underground Railroad to help as many of our parents and educators as possible to keep our children, especially our boys, from falling victim to modern day slavery, otherwise known as the school to prison pipeline. So I've been getting a lot of calls for assistance from parents, and most of you well know that I have been out of the country 2 weeks in Africa for the group tour, which took us from the end of July into almost the middle of August. And then I just came back from a life-changing 10-day tour of Cuba. Shout out to Black Cuba, which happens to be an ancestral homeland for me. My great-grandfather having been born there. And I was initiated into the mysteries of Ifa while I was there, which explains the bald head. Okay, but be that as it may, brothers and sisters, today is the Black Parent Teleconference call. If you have a question about a child, I only want to talk about the children, please call in. The number is there. It is 857-232-0158. I repeat, the number is 857-232-0158. I will say it once again, 857-232-0158, and the access code is 870-864-pound, 870-864-pound. Now we're still a couple minutes away from the start of the call. This is just something that I wanted to do to give parents an opportunity to call in and ask some questions. For those of you who live in Buffalo, New York, those of you who live in the Buffalo, New York area, that's where I am, and I will be speaking here tomorrow. Dr. Umar Johnson will be speaking in Buffalo, New York tomorrow from 4 p.m. until 7 p.m. And the doors open up at 2, but the lecture is from 4 until 7. We're going to talk about a whole host of things, but the main meal, the main entree of the lecture will be the school to prison pipeline. So all children 17 and younger are free. All elders 65 and older are free. I repeat, all children 17 and younger are free. All elders 65 and older are also free. College students, any and all college students with ID will be $10 at the door. So my University of Buffalo students who've been hitting me up, you just have to pay $10 and just bring your ID. Fort Lauderdale, Florida, make sure you send your prayers out to all of our brothers and sisters down in the South, particularly the Florida and Georgia area with the coming of Hurricane Irma. I believe it's scheduled to get there sometime between tomorrow night and Sunday morning. We want them to be safe. We want them to be protected. But I will be speaking in Fort Lauderdale on the 30th of September, September 30th at the African American Research Library at Broward. Make sure you continue to send in your donations, gofundme.com/Dr. Umar. And I'll be over in Paris, France from the 3rd into the 9th. I apologize to my North Carolina family and other brothers and sisters who were looking forward to seeing the lecture next Sunday the 17th and attending the parents conference next Friday and Saturday. I had to cancel the North Carolina NIBPA conference so that I could be present at Dick Gregory's memorial service. I don't believe it's the actual funeral. It is the memorial service. The viewing will be on Friday and the memorial service will be on Saturday in the DC area. So I deemed it more important for people to attend the homegoing ceremony for Baba Dick Gregory than to be at the NIBPA training. Despite its importance, you only transition to the ancestors once in a lifetime. So I want to be there for that. Many of you want to be there for that. So I did not want to be the one who caused any type of conflict of scheduling or interest by having something as important as the Black Parent Conference on the same days as the viewing and homegoing ceremony for Baba Dick Gregory. So yes, you can buy tickets at the door in Buffalo. Of course, yes, tickets at the door will be $30. Tickets online are $25. I repeat, tickets at the door will be $30. Tickets online are $25. You can go to princeofpanafricanism.eventbrite.com to get your tickets. princeofpanafricanism.eventbrite.com to get your tickets. And of course, we spell Africa with a K. You can also go to drumarjohnson.com and click on the Eventbrite link, or you can pay at the door. Children are free, elders are free, college students are $10 with an ID. So dig up your college ID and come on out and you get in for $10. So with that being said, I want to go to the phone lines and see if we have a caller for the special edition of the Underground Railroad Black Parent Teleconference. Is there someone online who wants to start us off with a question? Is there someone with a question on the line?
Hey, Dr. Umar, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, sister. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from North New Jersey.
All right, Newark, New Jersey. Yes, ma'am. I will be in Trenton, New Jersey. I will be in Trenton, New Jersey on October the 14th, I think it is. It's a Sunday, but I will be in Trenton on October the 14th. That's Sunday. It might be the 14th or the 15th, but I'll be in Trenton, New Jersey. But go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. First, I have to thank you for connecting me with the STEP program, because I did get my boys into the STEP program. But I am continuing to have challenges, especially with my 6-year-old. He seems to have a lot of aggression. And I'm trying to find a Black psychologist. We've gone to someone who does play therapy, and it just is not working.
Okay.
So
now, you mentioned a lot of aggression. What do you mean by that? What exactly is he doing?
So he'll ball up his fist a lot, almost as if he wants to fight me. I have had to kind of hold him tight as he kind of goes through his process, and I try and get him to do some breathing exercises. He'll also go at his brother. I have a 4-year-old son as well. And for any little thing, he'll go at him and try and, hit him or scratch him. Or he'll do like this thing where he'll just start punching stuff. He'll punch a pillow. Now it's stuff. It used to be me. Now it's like a pillow or a bed, or he just starts to ball up energy and he screams, like that kind of thing. And sometimes he'll say stuff like, I can't stop doing this, or something like that. And I can't always tell if he's just, trying to get over me, or if he's really feeling something.
Okay. What do you normally do in response to those behaviors?
So, depending on where I am, sometimes I'll breathe myself, or I'll just take a step back for a minute. Other times I'll just try and get close to him and remind him to breathe. And stop trying to ask him questions, so that makes me get him even more agitated.
Mm-hmm.
While he's in the process, and I'll just stay close while he's going through the process. If he has his brother in a hold or something, I'll pry him off of him.
Okay. But what do you do directly with him as a result of the behavior?
Like consequences after?
Yes. Or anything after. What do you normally do?
So I'll take his stuff away. He won't get dessert. I'll have him write he has to write a progress note for the STEP program, so I'll have him write for that. or I'll call one of the brothers from the program who he doesn't really have access to men. We'll try and talk. I'll try and reason with him after he's come out of that space. Or sometimes I'll have him just go to bed. Just relax. Maybe you're tired. And just have him just remove himself from the space of others to allow him to collect himself.
Okay. Well,
that's pretty much it.
Okay. How long has he been doing this? This behavior has been going on for how long?
I'd say it feels like it's gotten worse over the last 3 weeks to a month. I went out of town for a training, and when I got back, it seemed like it was like, oh, what the heck is happening?
Okay, but how long? The question was, how long has this behavior been going on?
For about 3 weeks to a month.
Okay, so it's only been going on for 3 weeks to a month.
Right.
Has anything changed in his life? Has anything occurred that may help explain this? Did y'all move to a new place? Is he at a new school? Is he still seeing his biological dad? Anybody, died or moved out the house?
Yeah.
Did y'all relocate?
Nope.
Okay.
About a month ago, I left for about 10 days. I went out of the country for 10 days. His dad moved out of the country about 2 years ago. So that was, we went through some stuff then. And so recently, no, aside from me in the country for 10 days, and he stayed with my mom. And sometimes the energy in that house is different from my house. Mm-hmm. But other than that, no. I mean, it's summertime, so he's not in school, he's in a camp. But other than that, no.
Okay. Well, there's definitely a trigger. It could have been triggered by the fact that you went out the country. I mean, you weren't wrong for doing that, but it could have been triggered by that, especially given the fact that the biological father is no longer a regular part of his life in terms of on a daily, weekly basis. So that could have triggered it. He could have felt, there could have been some separation anxiety there. There could have been a rupture in the attachment relationship between you and your son as a result of you leaving for those 10 days. That could very well be the trigger. Or something could have triggered it while you were away. In other words, you may not know the trigger. It could have been something that happened while you were away that you're not aware of. See, with children in general, and especially with young children, they generally don't talk out their problems. They act them out. So that anger, that huffing and puffing, that's a frustration. That's a frustration. He's upset about something, but he can't quite articulate it or doesn't feel comfortable articulating it. I'm glad that it's only been going on for about a month because it's not a habit. So what you may have to do when he gets upset, you may want to have him draw when he's angry, have him color when he's angry to help process that. But you also want him to start verbalizing, because at 6, although the talk is still somewhat immature, you can understand it. So you want him to start expressing that. Tell me how you feel. What's wrong? Are you happy? Are you sad? Was it me? Was it someone else? Try to get him to talk it out, because you don't want him to start resorting to those types of behaviors, the huffing and the puffing and the fist balling, as his way of coping, because that's not adaptive coping, especially when he goes to school. You don't want him doing that type of stuff, because the first thing they're going to say is, oppositional defiant disorder, conduct disorder, or whatever the case may be. It also, well, let me do this. Let me give you the number to the Association of Black Psychologists.
Okay.
So you can get a referral from them. If you don't hear back from them within like a week, let me know. And then what I'll do is I'll try to contact some folks directly from Jersey's. The number is 301 449 3082. 301 449 3082. And the email address is info at A is in association, B is in black, P is in psychology, S is in strong, I is in individual. Info at abpsi.org.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely try to get him talking.
Okay.
And you may have to reward and punish that behavior too, because we don't want it to become a habit. And so what I mean by rewarding and punishing it, if he gets upset and he's able to talk about it in a way that you find acceptable, maybe he'll get a smiley face for that day. And if he ends up with 4 smiley faces out of the week, then maybe there will be some sort of small reward waiting for him on the weekend. Now, because he's so young, he might can't go a whole week. So you may have to do, every day or every other day, if you can go without, huffing and puffing, and instead talking out your problems. You get a smiley face, and there might be a reward at the end of the night, something light, nothing heavy, nothing expensive. And then on the flip side, if he doesn't do that, you may have to put him in timeout, actually have him sit in the chair, in the corner with no type of sensory stimulation whatsoever. And he may sit there for maybe 10 minutes as a punishment every time he does it. That's what we call extinction. We want to kill the behavior we don't like. So every time he does it, you might say, okay, you're huffing and puffing again. You're going in the corner. You can do it that way every time, or you can simply give him a sad face because he huffed and puffed, and see whether or not he will have more positive days than not so positive days. So you might say, listen, 4 positive days out of 7, there'll be a reward, or you might say he does it so much that I'm going to say, if you limit it to only twice a day, if you do it no more than twice, we're going to call that a good day. And you could do it like that. So you have some leeway on how you set it up, but you want to be consistent. The biggest challenge that mothers have when it comes to changing behavior is consistency. A lot of mothers are not consistent, only because you work from the heart. And so you care and you love and you hug, but that's not going to change behavior. That will let him know that you care and you love him, but that does nothing to change behavior. Emotions don't change behavior. Consequences do. So you're going to have to buckle down and get kind of firm on him so you can eliminate that behavior, because we don't want that to become part of his personality.
Okay, this is helpful. We do the talk about, never done the reward immediate. Thank you so much for the info. I'm going to try this.
So let me know how that goes, Queen. Let me know how that goes.
I will. Thank you so much.
No problem. No problem. Thank you. Thank you. Is there another question on the call? Does someone else have a question? Is there someone else on the call with a question? I know we got a lot of folks on. If you have a question about your child, go ahead and ask it. Is there another question?
Yes, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Where are you calling from, sister?
I'm calling from New Jersey.
New Jersey. Go right ahead.
Yes, I would say, well, my son is only 7. I should start off with that. My son's 7. He's going into the 2nd grade. And last year, when he was in the 1st grade, subsequently, I found out by happenstance that they have a gifted and talented program in the school. And so I found out after the teachers decide what children are actually chosen to go into the program. Apparently, they don't announce it to the district. They don't announce it to the parents that they have this program for kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd grade parents. It's up to there's no testing involved, just up to the teacher to decide who it's.
Okay. You still there, sis? I think we might have lost her. Are you still there, good sister?
Oh, yeah, I'm still here. Can you
Okay.
hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You can keep going. Something might be wrong with her phone.
Why?
Okay, go. Okay, you went out for a few seconds.
I keep going out. I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah, it don't sound like a reception though. It seemed like it's something else. But go ahead, give it another. Go ahead, give.
Okay, I'll try again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I went to the principal. My husband and I, we had a meeting, and we inquired, as to, why wasn't Alex or my son chosen to go? Because he was doing exceptionally well in all of the testing he was bringing home, good reader, so on. So, the principal really didn't have a good, valid reason. So he said, well, we'll just get him tested this year, second grade, that he just started yesterday. So I wanted to know if there was is that normal for a district to do that, this gifted and talented program? Do they just run it on their own? Which township?
Okay. Several years ago, mental giftedness was a part of federal special ed law. When it was a part of federal special ed law, that required school districts to notify and educate parents that the option of getting their child evaluated for mental giftedness was available. But they took it out of special ed law, I want to say somewhere between 97 and 05. It was taken out. And when they took mental giftedness out of the federal special ed law, each state was given a prerogative to determine whether or not they still wanted to continue with mental giftedness as a program. Pennsylvania continued with it. It sounds like, based on your comments, that New Jersey also continued with it. And so what that means is if they're going to have a law, they have to uphold the policy. So the first thing you want to do is you want to contact central office downtown, the school district, and you want to get the policy, the mental gifted policy for the district in writing. You don't want to settle for what they tell you. People can tell you anything. You want to tell them, I want to get a copy of the policy as it is written. As it is written. They might direct you to a website where you can download it, or they might tell you that you can come on in and get it, or they can mail it to you. If you have trouble with that.
I actually did get it. Okay. I did receive it in writing. I got the policy.
Okay, so you got the policy. But generally, even when gifted was a part of special ed law, they never really advertised it because only a few children would, in fact, qualify for being mentally gifted. So as a result of that, they relied on referrals from classroom teachers. So it was the teachers who would, drive the process, as they do with special ed today. It's largely driven by teacher complaints and teacher referrals. And so even then, it was normally the teacher who started the process by going to the principal to say, this kid is too smart. I have nothing for him. The work is too easy. He's bright. It was normally teacher driven. So it was never something that was widely publicized to parents, even when it was federally protected. But if your state has the law, which clearly yours does, as you have the policy, it's still a state law, even though it's not a federal law, and they have to honor it. But to answer the question, no, they don't have to really broadcast MG the way that they'd have to do with special ed, because special ed is federal. So they have to broadcast that because they get money for it. With MG, it's not the same case. Now, I would have preferred that your son be evaluated last year for the simple fact that the main tests usually used, to determine if a child is gifted is the intelligence test. And IQ scores are derived not only from a child's performance on the IQ test, but also based on his age. In other words, it would have been easier for your son to qualify for gifted last year because he was 1 year younger, which means the cutoff point, which means the criteria against which his ability was measured was a little bit easier. So as a rule, I always tell parents, get them tested for gifted, the sooner the better. In other words, a kid being tested at 5 years old in kindergarten, taking the primary test, obviously doesn't have to score as high as a kid who's 7. And a kid who's 7 doesn't have to score as high as a kid who's 10. because the norms are age based. They're age based norms. So let me give you an example. Once a kid, I use the Wechsler intelligence scales myself in my work that I do as a certified school psychologist. And with the Wechsler, let's say your kid was 16 years, 11 months, and 29 days yesterday. He was 16 years, 11 months, 29 days yesterday. But instead of getting evaluated yesterday, when he was 16 years, 11 months, and 29 days, his birthday came, and he turned 17 tomorrow. You know what that means? That means because he's now 17, only 1 day older, I have to give him the adult intelligence test, which is much more difficult of a measure than the grade school tests. You see, that's the difference that a single day can make. When he was 16, 11, I could have gave him still the grade school intelligence test, which is a whole lot easier. He might have qualified for gifted, but now that he's 17, I have to give him the adult IQ test, which is a whole lot harder with items that are more difficult. And as a result, he may not qualify. So it is always better to get them tested for gifted as soon, as you want to. They should have done it last year. They really should have. But I think your son was...
They choose the kids in December. The teacher chooses the kids. She cherry picks which one she wants. She recommends them to be tested. It's a long testing. It's about 3 or 4 hours long. I didn't find out until March of this year. And so they said that, sorry, we didn't test him. There's so many first graders. We'll try to get tested next year. Just tell the second grade teacher that you want him tested.
Okay, that's why you got to read the policy. That's why you got to read the policy, because you need to see if that policy states that a parent can request in writing to get their child evaluated. I don't like...
Oh, no, it says no. It says no. And that's what it says it's up to the teacher. But because my husband and I went to the school and reviewed the policy and said, hey, why can you give us a reason why my son was not chosen? That's when the principal, it kind of seemed like he backed down and said, just to cover themselves, we will test him.
Okay, there's something else you guys need to do. And that is, okay, you have the district's policy. That's one thing. But you also need to contact the State Department of Education, Office of Instruction, Programming, whatever the case may be, so many different offices. Find out what the state law is for mental giftedness. Because school districts, sometimes they put policies in place that violate state law. But they get away with it because parents never challenge it. Just like no state in America can make a law that contradicts the Constitution, but they can make a law that contradicts the Constitution, and they can get away with it if nobody ever challenges it. So because of that, you guys want to contact the state to see if there's a state gifted law to make sure that the district's policy doesn't violate that, because I've rarely heard of a evaluation program, be it for giftedness or any other ability or disability, where only the teacher can make the referral. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. When giftedness was a part of federal law, the parent could request in writing. So I think you guys need to check to see what the state says about giftedness, because the state law may very well say parents can request in writing. And if it says that, the school district cannot circumvent that. They cannot disallow a right that the state has given to the parents. What that policy says, that doesn't sit right with me. Parents can also initiate...
In regards to preparing, we will do that. In regards to preparation for the test, I know there's so many different tests out there. Is there a way, I guess I have to
find out, ask what they're given. You can ask what they're given. What tests will you be giving my children? You can actually ask for the names of the tests. You can do that. You have a right to know. That's informed consent, because you're going to sign a consent form to give them permission to evaluate your child, and you have a right. You have a right to know what they're going to test, what they're going to give. You have a right to know that. And what you also...
Test it and buy a book or something and go over questions with him. It's okay to do that, to prepare.
You can. Intelligence testing is not like achievement testing. With achievement testing, if he's about to take, a third grade achievement test, you can go to any bookstore and get third grade math, third grade language. You can prepare for an achievement test. Intelligence is a little bit different, because a lot of the items that are given, are not based on previous instruction. But I will tell you this. The one scale that is based on previous instruction is verbal comprehension. That is his vocabulary. So one thing you do want to do is you want to, kind of, test him for vocabulary, see what he knows in terms of what things are. General concepts and information, verbal concepts, vocabulary, verbal concepts, general information, those types of things are good. The seasons, stuff like that. General information as well as vocab. That stuff where you can prepare him. Also you want to give him some puzzles and some things like that. Puzzles are real good. The Rubik's Cube. The Rubik's Cube is an example of a assessment that is very similar to some of the things we do. Those type of nonverbal performance tasks. The Rubik's Cube would be an example of a nonverbal performance task. Putting a puzzle together would be another example of a nonverbal performance task. So you may want to also get him some of those as well.
Thank you.
But once you get that test, if you're not satisfied with the results, you can always contact me so I can review the report to see whether or not I suspect any foul play. Because in my experience, being in the field of school psychology, 17 years as a practitioner, 3 years as a student, so it's been 20 years now, a lot of times non-African teachers and non-African school psychologists have a difficult time admitting that black children are intellectually advanced because it contradicts the predominant social stereotypes that are held in this country about our children. So if you get that test and you don't really like what you're seeing, definitely get in contact with me. I'd love to take a look at it for you.
I appreciate that. Thank you for your time.
No problem. Thank you. Is there another question on the call?
Hey, Dr. Johnson.
Yes, ma'am. Where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm calling from Grenada,
Mississippi,
Mississippi.
Mississippi. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Look, I was wondering, when will you be here in Jacksonville?
I am actually working with a brother in Jackson, Mississippi right now to get on back down to Jackson. So I will be in Jackson before the year is out. I don't know if it's going to be Kwanzaa week or we might try to do it for October or November, but I will definitely be back in Jackson, Mississippi before the end of the year.
Okay, great. I try to look forward to it. Okay, quick question. I have a son. My son is 11. And he really don't catch on to things as quick as my oldest son who's 12. He is like his memory sometimes is kind of fades out. Like I can say, hey, and it could be like near him.
Okay.
And he just, it's like he don't have a recognition of it being like right there in front. And sometimes he may look and still not see that option. And with his schoolwork, for example, I actually had to get his teacher on like Skype video message because she would text. I'm in a parent group text message, and she would message me about his homework, and she was saying some assignments were due in exact books. So I had asked him about the books. He had no recollection of her actually giving him the book. And so I Skyped her. And she said, well, yes, I gave him all 3 of those books. And so I'm going to find out the book was out there in his book bag. But he was not really understanding that she did have them and she did it for them. And that they were right there in his book bag. He hasn't sold the books around every day since school started this year. And it's like he was just not comprehending on things. And then on another note, he has moments where he's very smart. He remembers his action figures. He can call out characters on the TV very well. He can draw really well. And I'm the type of person I refuse when it comes to the whole, giving a child medicine, that I refuse to do. And my mom was telling me, well, you need to sign him up for life. And she told me that when he was maybe about 4 or 5. And I said, no, because I believe that he still has some blocks for me to do, being that he was a boy and he was just in the imagination stage. So my question to you is there any kind of evaluation believe that those life organizations here in Mississippi, get down to the root of the problem. And that's what I want for my son. I want him with the correct diagnosis.
How old is
So
he?
I'm trying to see. What did he read? He's 11.
Well, remember now, what we often think are memory problems in children are often motivation problems. So one of the things we have to do is we have to discern between whether we're dealing with memory or whether we're dealing with motivation. Because if a kid ain't motivated, he ain't going to remember nothing because he's not interested. So that's the first thing that needs to be ruled out. Is this really memory or is this a motivation situation? Okay, so that's one thing. Okay. 11 years old. How's he doing in school academically? What are the grades like? How did he finish last year?
Last year, I kind of wrestled with him. I've actually wrestled with him the past 3 years, I would say, with his reading. It's like he gets real lazy when it comes to read, but math, he gets, all A's.
Okay.
The reading is like he don't want to read the passages that's going to think he should. But it's like I'm not sure now. He actually ended up something I had said this past week. He ended up in accident. So instead of him going to his regular class, they sent him to another school building in another area where he had to, do his school. And they would have set him time over there.
Okay. Now you mentioned the word lazy. Are you a single mom?
I was for some time, but I do have a husband now who's actually a help.
Okay, he's active.
Yes.
Okay, because having not met your son, tested your son, or observed your son, but I just got a feeling that the diagnosis here is laziness. That's what I think the diagnosis is. It sounded like. How much does he read at home outside of school?
And that's the thing, because he reads here at home. He reads it now. I will admit, probably not as much as he should, or as he can.
The other thing too is whether or not you're working with him on comprehension skill development. When you say he's struggling with reading, are you speaking of his ability to understand the material or his ability to decode the words? Where is his struggle?
His ability to understand the material.
Yeah. And you're going to have to build that skill at home because teachers often don't do a good job teaching reading comprehension. You're probably going to have to do that. And all you have to do is get a newspaper article. Newspapers are excellent because the articles are not long. He reads that, you take it from him, you ask him a couple questions. And by doing this over and over again, he get the questions wrong, you give it back, he reads it again, you ask him some different questions. You have to build the memory muscles. You have to build his memory muscles by constantly working on him with short, quick reading comprehension tasks. Newspapers are perfect. You can get the daily news every day and, choose 2 or 3 articles and have them answer about 3 to 5 questions from each article. Read it, give it back to me. I'm going to ask you some questions. Make sure it's not information he already knows about. So you don't want to have him read an article about LeBron James because he might already know everything about LeBron James because he's a LeBron James fan, not necessarily because he can comprehend what he's reading. So you want it to be stuff that he's not familiar with, so you force him to tackle new information. It also might be a good idea to get him a tutor to work with him in the area of reading too, because he's 11. Is he a 5th grader?
He's 6th grade.
He's a 6th grader. Yeah, it might not hurt to get him a tutor as well, but I really suspect that he's not putting forth the effort. One thing we got to understand about effort, if you don't put forth the effort and if you don't have the motivation necessary to put forth the effort, a kid who is proficient will look below basic. A kid who is gifted can look like they are a slow learner when effort and motivation are not present. So you definitely want to rule that out before you start ruling anything else in. But I would really go with the tutor, because you don't want to put your kid in special ed, because nothing good is going to come from that. Special ed is just a fast track to the school to prison pipeline.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. And I've been fighting, doing it for years, and, thank God my man said to, not do so. But I do thank you for that information.
No
and
problem.
just one last question.
Sure.
My husband would love to speak with you or just on an issue aside from the children. Is there any other time he could speak with you concerning the idea that, he had that I think would be very vital to the community?
Yeah, what you can do, you can have him text me.
Okay.
215-989 9858 is my personal cell, or he can email me at drumarjohnson@yahoo.com. That's DRUMAR Johnson@yahoo.com. So whichever works best for him.
Okay, great. All right, I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. No problem. Is there another question on the call? Is there another question on the call?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Where you calling from, my brother?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to call. That's my brother.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
And I also want to tell you, please check your email. I have that information there for you. I've been checking out your speakers at work. I've been checking out your video while at work. And I think that you are being targeted pretty much by certain groups. Please check your email. Okay?
Okay. No problem. Thank you. Is there another question? Well, before I take the next question, some of my people on Instagram want the call-in number. If you have a question about your child, for my Instagram folks, the phone number is 857-232-0158, 857-232-0158. Again, that's 857-232-0158. And the access code is 870-864-pound. Again, it's 870-864-pound if you have questions. Is there another question on the call?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from,
I didn't catch that. You're calling from where? Okay. I need everybody to mute. Brooklyn, New York. Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Yes, hi. Well, I'm a first-time caller, long-time supporter of you, Brother Umar. I appreciate everything you're doing
Thank you.
for the African community. I just have a question. Hello?
Yes. Go right ahead. Go ahead, bro. Ask that question.
Okay, yeah. So my question is, what should someone like myself, because I was in the streets before, I served some time in jail, about a year. I came home, been home almost 3 years, and been able to find reasonable work. Everywhere I'm trying to apply to, I'm trying to go to, I haven't been able to find somewhere that's going to give me a reasonable job. So, but my question to you is, what suggestions would you have? Because I have a felony, I have 2 felonies on my record.
Question. Have you reached out to State Senator Charles Barron?
Charles Barron? No, I have not.
I want you to. He's a conscious elected official out of New York City, very popular within the black consciousness community. He's taking some stands for our people. I want you to contact him. Charles Barron, Barron, or it might be one R, but it's Charles Barron. He's a state senator. He represents New York City. I want you to call him and I want you to tell him Dr. Umar Johnson told me to get in contact with you because he said you could probably help me find a job. Make sure you mention my name and let me know what comes of that. If you don't hear something, then let me know.
Because as you know, basically, you can get a job nowhere. They give you a whole bunch of places as to where you can apply to, regardless of what you try to do. Like, my security license, I was denied. Tried to get a hack license, I was denied. Tried to get a license to try to run my own business because, you know, like I said, I was getting money in the streets before. I had some money which rolled away. So I tried to even go get my liquor license. It was about, $10,000 on that. And it was thrown down the drain because, come to find out, you can't get any licenses for the state of New York if you have any felonies on your background. So basically, it's like, what other options are there for you to do? You don't want to go back to the streets.
I got you. Do you have my cell, good brother? If you don't, I want to.
You're breaking up. What did you say?
Do you have my cell number?
No, I heard that, but I said no.
Okay, let me give you my cell number. After you talk to Charles Barron, I want you to get back in contact with me and let me know what became of that situation.
How would I be able to in contact with you?
I'm about to give you my number right now. Are you ready? The number is, and I need everybody to mute your phone. Too much feedback. I need everybody to mute their phones. A lot of you don't have your phones muted. Please mute your phones. Okay. The number is 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. After you talk to him, I want you to text me.
Because even now, I'm in school. I'm enrolled in school right now.
Yes.
I decided to go back and finish my degree up.
Right.
So now I'm enrolled in school, and I'm in school for my physician's assistant license. But from what I was reading up on, in order to get your physician's assistant license, you have to pass a state board to get the license. I've already gone through 3 different state boards, 3 different licenses, and I didn't get it. So now, and mind you, my charges weren't for anything endangering the community, like rape, or anything like that. So, my concern is I'm going to finish school, pay for all this stuff in 2 years, and then I'll be in the same predicament I'm in now.
I got you. Me and you going to talk some more, though, bro. But I want you to talk to Charles Barron first. Give him a ring. See if he can help you at all.
I don't have his number.
You can look him up on the internet. You can get it off the internet. Just look up Charles Barron, a state senator from New York. He's very well known. Anyone in the community could put you in contact with him too. Okay, but did you have my number?
I'll give you a call and let you know. Let me just double check to make sure I have it. Come on. It's 215-989-9858.
There you go.
All
right. Keep me posted, little brother. Keep your head up too. We're going to get you a job. Keep your head up.
Yeah. Well, that's the number one concern because, like I said, and this is when I watched, like, I became more conscious while I was inside, and then as I started watching more of your information about your brother, somebody's been following me for a while. He put me on, and I started watching a lot of his YouTube videos and stuff like that, and I became aware of the vicious cycle that we place on us as a people. You know, we're putting
Right.
Our education succeed. So then in order for us to make an everyday living, we go into hospitals and whatever to get money. We get caught up, we get a felony. Then they say, okay, well, you can come out and become a productive member of society, but you can't be a productive member of society. Every step you want to take requires a background check. Every time you have a background check, once you have the felony in your record, you're denied. So basically,
Right.
the recidivism rate is 75% in prison because you can't do anything other than crime once you've already been convicted of crime.
I
There
agree.
are no real other options. Unless you start with rap music or playing basketball.
Right. One of the things I'm going to be working on is a national black ex-offender conference. We'll talk about that though, but I want to put together a national black ex-offender conference where we bring all the black folks together, ex-offenders, and we start, definitely doing some things to get some of the rights back, because you're absolutely right. Once convicted, they make you a permanent slave for the rest of your life. They lock you into a life of crime.
And this is what I would tell people. You cannot tell somebody who was making $10,000 a week will not survive on $175 a week at the tax. Not saying that that's going to be $10,000 a week again, but you can't tell somebody, okay, well, we're going to give you a job working at McDonald's. Yeah, you work at McDonald's in New York, you're making $11 an hour. After taxes and everything, you come home with
Right.
$217 a week. If you want to rent an apartment in New York, it's going to cost you that minimum. By yourself, you live alone, $1,000 a week. If you're lucky, you might find a room for $150 a week if you're lucky. So that's $600 a month. So you're only bringing home only bring home $230 a week, and your rent is half of your pay cut, half of your income. How you would eat as you would travel to get to work.
Right. I got you, bro. Well, let me do this. I'm going to run because we may have some parents waiting on the line, but let's talk next week, okay?
Okay. I apologize.
No, you're good, bro. No, you don't have to apologize. Okay, we're gonna talk for sure. Stay positive. All right, no problem. All right. Is there another question on the call? Okay, let me take the sister.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Where are you calling from? Sister, are you there?
Dr. Umar, I'm calling from Los Angeles, California. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go right ahead.
I have a 20-year-old son who was diagnosed with dyslexia when he was 4.
He was diagnosed with dyslexia when he was 4 years old?
No, I'm sorry, in the 4th grade.
Okay, in the 4th grade. Okay.
January 11th.
Okay.
What they told me then was not dyslexia specifically. What they told me was that he has a form of dyslexia. It was written on his IEP as a specialized, a special learning disability, but it never had an official name. So when he transitioned, we changed schools in 5th grade to a small charter school. He earned a 1st grade reading level to a 4th grade reading level, and then he proceeded to progress. The problem that I'm dealing with now is that we had to bring him home ground, and he's expressed to me that it's difficult for him, and I'm thinking that it's probably this learning disability, but I'm trying to figure out, do I have him reevaluated? Do I just get tutoring? I'm kind of lost as what the next step is. Because
Okay.
I want him to be able, even if he doesn't go back to college, I want him to be able to succeed.
Okay. He's 20. So my question would be, are we sure this is not a motivational issue? Because,
It's definitely a motivational issue, but I think a lot of it comes from discouragement.
and why do you think he's discouraged the most?
Because he really struggles with schoolwork. He wants to do well in school, but it's really very challenging for him. He's a smart kid. To talk to him, you would never know. But when it comes to actually having to do the work and organizing his thoughts and organizing his notes and making it through the classes, it's a struggle.
Okay, okay, he's 20. When he graduated high school, and he attended college already? He's been to college?
Yes, he was in Texas Southern for a year.
Okay. Did he get 501 learning accommodations at college?
like, if you show up, great. If you don't, oh well.
Right, but he's entitled to 504 learning accommodations in college if he has a learning disability, which doesn't function. It doesn't provide you with as many supports as public school special ed programming, but you get extra time to take your tests. You can get tutors free of charge. You can take your test in a different room, longer time to get assignments done and projects. It does come in handy. So if he does not qualify for those right now, or if he doesn't get it, I think he probably should get reevaluated, because at this stage of the game, it ain't about special ed because he's out of high school. It's about qualifying for the necessary learning accommodations that he's going to need to take some of the pressure off of himself. So I think if he's going back to college or trade school, I do recommend he gets reevaluated as an adult so he can get those accommodations.
I like to look good.
Okay. And so then my next question is, do you know anyone here in Los Angeles that does that and for maybe a reduced cost? Because I'm a single parent and wanting to.
It may be covered by your medical insurance. It may be covered by your medical. Clinical evaluations are generally at least partially covered by your insurance. You would need to contact the law. You're in Los Angeles. You would need to contact the Los Angeles Association of Black Psychologists. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you Sister Monica's number. Sister Monica is the president of the Los Angeles chapter of the National Independent Black Parent Association, and she should be able to help you contact the Los Angeles chapter of the Association of Black Psychologists. Are you ready for the number?
Yeah.
Okay, Sister Monica's number is 213-538 2871. 213-538 2871.
Okay, and just because there's some interference, I'm going to repeat it. 213-538-2871.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. And you could also Google Los Angeles chapter of the Association of Black Psychologists as well to see if it comes up for you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Before I take the next question, I need everyone to get me off speakerphone. If you're listening on speakerphone, I need you to take it off speaker because it's causing too much echo. No speakers, please. Okay. Is there another question?
Yeah, good. Another question.
Good brother. Where you calling from?
Hello?
I'm going to take the brother and then I'll come to you, sister. You said Los Angeles, good brother?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. You know, doctor, I've been trying to reach you for some time, and I know that you've been busy, you know, and, but, you know, I'm glad to finally gotten through with you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. So listen, here's my situation. I had been, you know, it's very long, so I'm going to try to paraphrase it as much as I can.
Now let me ask you: is it about your child? Because if it's not, I'm gonna give you my personal cell number. Okay, it is. Go ahead. Go ahead.
There's some mix up in the line record.
Yeah, I need. Okay, hold on one second, bro. I need you guys to mute your phones. Hold on. Okay, I need y'all to. Okay, David, I think we're clear. Go ahead, my brother. Give it another shot.
All right, great. So I raised my kid for, you know, almost his last 7 years. I've been in and out of the kid's life. She had recently entered in, she was doing bad, and she entered into a same-sex relationship. Within 60 days of meeting this person, she decided to move in with this person. Now, brought him back. Monday, she filed a child abuse case for me. She tried to file a hearing in ex parte to change the judgment of the case. The judge said there's no evidence of any child abuse. So the judgment remains the same. The child stays with the parent. DCFS picks up the case, however, and they have since taken the kid away from me. I've gone through this arduous process of triple courts, through DCFS courts, and they have done absolutely nothing on the end of the social worker then to reunite me with my child. They've done everything to make it a hindrance to me to do so. Right? They tried to diagnose the kid as special needs, which he's not special needs. You know, he just has lack of motivational issue. Now they've had the kid. I'm appealing the notice, the judgment right now, but I need some help. It's been a very frustrating thing for me. And it was kind of like an emasculating experience for someone to come into your home and just take your kid. So I needed some advice from you and some help. Some good legal representation as well.
Yeah, you're definitely going to have to get an attorney. You're definitely going to have to get an attorney. And what I recommend is that you contact the National Bar Association, which is the Black Lawyers organization, because they should be able to make a referral. They should be able to put someone in contact with you who can actually help you with that situation. But you're definitely going to need an attorney, because black fathers are often taken advantage of when they don't have legal representation. So that's definitely something that you're going to need, because they love to deny black fathers their custody rights, and they love to take our children away from the homes as well. So you got to get a black attorney. I'm not familiar with one in your area off the top, but if you contact the National Bar Association, they have a website, and they have a referral system where they can put you in touch with a black lawyer that you can afford, that will help you with that situation.
Okay. Great. I appreciate it. And also, as I said, they have made some mentions of him being special needs, and he isn't.
Okay.
And I'm sure that the mother, in her laziness, is going to allow them to do whatever they do as far as classifying.
Okay. Do you still have shared legal custody? Normally,
I have absolutely no custody.
Okay.
There's so many interesting things that went on within this process, that it was illegal on their side, as well as they prescribed a certain amount of classes we need to take: anger management, parenting class, and some other anger management, parenting class, and conjoined counseling. As I was going through the process of all of that, they told me that they wanted me to have monitored supervision with my kid, right? And I took that as a form of disrespect, due to the fact that I had been there so long. So I opted not to do that, right? But I still did what they wanted me to do. Right? Going through all the classes, when there's a sense that I had handpicked to be my psychiatrist, because I wasn't going to have just any person that they chose for me to have. I wanted to have a sister or a person of color to help me with this, right? At first they didn't want to hire her because they said that she was too expensive. And, I gave them the argument of, well, is this about me, or how much you guys can actually afford to pay for me to get better? Since you diagnosed me as it is, I have a problem, right? So they approved all of that, and then when I started going to court, they said that none of the techniques that she was using was acceptable. Right?
I got you.
So they were giving me a hard time throughout the social workers changed several different times. There was in regards to making my son feel like he was in danger and making him feel like he needed to fear for his life around.
Got you. You're in Los Angeles, right, my brother?
Yes.
Okay. There's a sister.
Met before, man, when we were down here.
I got you. Well, check this out. There's a sister on my Facebook Live feed, Sister Dindy, who says there's an organization in Los Angeles called My Child Says Daddy. So make sure you Google them.
My child says daddy?
Yep, My Child Says Daddy. That help fathers who have those types of situations. In fact, I met a brother one time. Let me see if I got his number, from Los Angeles, who does deal with fatherhood. Yep, here we go. Los Angeles Black Fathers. Are you ready for the number?
Yeah.
Okay, this is to the Los Angeles Black Fathers, and the number is 323-816-1750. 323-816-1750. Los Angeles Black Fathers. So you have them, and then you also have My Child Says Daddy organization.
Okay.
And of course,
okay.
The National Bar Association.
Okay, the National Bar Association.
Yes, sir.
Right. Is it possible that I could get in touch with you so I can
Sure.
discuss this in private about
Sure.
the details with concerning me?
Okay, let me give you. Sure.
A mediator, counselor for myself and my son.
Okay, let me give you my cell number. It's 215
Okay.
989 215 989 9858. 215 989. Yes, sir.
215-989-9858.
Yes, sir.
I give thanks to Dr. Umar.
Thank you, my brother.
For all that you're doing for the
Oh,
people.
thank you. And good luck with that. Stay positive. All right now.
Yes, keep respect.
One love. Is there another question on the call?
Dr. Umar? Yes, Dr. Umar.
Okay, there was two sisters. Okay, let me take the sister who spoke just before you. Then I'm gonna come right back to you.
Dr. Umar, yes.
Okay, say that again, sis.
Dr. Umar, this is Tiffany, and I'm calling from Pocomoke, Maryland.
Pocomoke, Maryland. Wow, I went to college.
Yeah.
I went to college. Do you know a brother by the name of Kevin Cannon? He has a brother. They both play football. The brother's name is Jug. I forget Jug's real name. Kevin Cannon. They're short for brothers. They're short, but they have tremendous athletic ability. They'll be in their early 40s right now. Do you know them?
Well, I'm not a real resident because I'm military, so
Okay, I got you. I got you. We went to college together. He was a good buddy of mine. We lost contact, and he was from Pocomoke, Maryland. But go right ahead.
But first of all, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak to our people. That means a lot. So I just want to start off by thanking you for taking time out.
Thank you.
But I want to talk about my son.
Sure.
And I just wanted to, it's something that I've been struggling with, him being diagnosed ADHD, and struggling for 5 years now on whether to put him on medication or not.
No meds. Don't do the meds. How old is he?
He's 12 now.
Not the
And,
meds.
it's very hard because every time I sit down to do the state counseling with his teachers and we go through things, they're pushing and recommending medication, and the last time we had this, I was brought to tears because I felt like I was almost depriving my son of his education because he's struggling so much, and some of his symptoms are just being so forgetful. He can't remember, one thing from 1 minute to the next. If I tell him sometimes, just go upstairs and grab the tissues, he'll go upstairs, Dwight came upstairs. He struggles even talking, having clear thoughts sometimes to express what he feels. And I'm watching him struggle, and it's tearing me apart as a parent. Now, I know that he's capable because sometimes when I spend time with him and I'm one-on-one with him, I can get him to understand with him, but the teachers just don't have that time. That, you know, they're like, you know, it's a fast-paced environment. You know, Pokemon is really not that fast-paced. You know, it's just kind of, you know, it's like the ratio is actually good, but he's still struggling. And I'm just really, I just need help. I just need to know.
Okay.
What should I be doing at this point?
Couple things. Biological dad, is he involved?
His biological dad is not involved. He does have a stepfather who has raised him pretty much more for him than his biological dad since he was 3 years old. So he has a dad. However, it's not his biological dad. Now, biological dad comes in once in a blue moon, and when that happens, I know it causes issues sometimes because I could just tell my son struggles with why his biological dad can't be what his stepdad is to him. So I know it creates some type of environment, but I don't know how it's affecting him when it comes to that.
Okay. Also, what about motivation and effort on behalf of your son?
A lack of motivation and effort, but like someone said earlier, I can't tell whether it's because so his sister, she gets straight A's. You know, education is actually fun for her. So I think that, you know, when they're together and she's so excited about learning and everything is easy for her, I think he just gets so discouraged and he just is like, why is this so hard for me? And yet she's reading books like it's nothing and I can barely make it to a page. So he just doesn't want to do it. You know, so
yeah, I think it's a lack of motivation. I think a lot of it is motivation, without question. But I'm wondering, what is the cause of the lack of motivation? Because I think it's something other than school. Now, what type of school he goes to? Is he surrounded by white kids, or what type of school is this?
Well, he is surrounded by, it's about 40-60, so 60% white, 40% black. And, you know, on the Eastern Shore, what I find here in this area is that, you know, a lot of the black children, they're not pushed to their, I guess, they're not pushed here, you know, and I see that. So, you know, coming into this environment, it's really hard to watch because I'm watching where they kind of almost set the bar so low for the black children, and they set it higher for the white children. I feel like it's like 20 years behind in this area.
Now, speaking of that bar that you just spoke about, do you feel that you have been challenging him enough yourself, or has he been getting by with less? And I only say that because sometimes with the mothers, y'all can be a little soft on the boys, and they kind of get away a little bit, as opposed to putting forth the full effort.
Well, I think I'm pretty tough. I guess I really don't know that. I think I'm pretty tough. His stepdad gets on him as well. And sometimes I have to intervene even with that because I see he's getting frustrated and then my son's getting frustrated and nothing is happening. You know, sometimes he's just down there yelling and like, well, he still ain't getting it. So, you know, sometimes I back off and let my husband handle it, but that method doesn't work. And then my method of being maybe a little bit more lenient and patient with him.
Are there only 2 children in the household?
Just 2 children, yes.
How old is his sister?
His sister's 14.
And he's 11.
12, yes.
He's 12. Do they, same father?
Same father.
Is he involved in any structured activities outside of the house? What does he do other than school?
Yes, but he really struggles with structured activities. So even when I put him in basketball, he really struggled. Put him in baseball. Just.
What do you mean struggle? What do you mean struggle?
Coach.
When you say he struggled in basketball, baseball, what do you mean he struggled? Like where's the struggle coming in?
He struggled socially. He struggled athletically. He struggled. And if you look at him, you think he's a very athletic kid, but he just struggled. He struggled paying attention to the rules of the game. Same thing when he was in football. Same thing in softball. I put him in karate for a little while. He had trouble staying focused with karate. I always had to kind of go out and be like, Aaron, pay attention to what he's saying.
I got you. Okay. And give me his grade again. What grade is he in?
He's in 6th grade.
He's in the 6th grade. How did he end last school year? What were his final marks in the major subjects? How did he do?
He did okay.
What do you mean?
With A, B, C.
He ended with A's, B's, and C's. So he's not really struggling too much academically, or is he?
Well, no, that was a lot of our push. That was us going to the school, working with the teachers, catching up on work where he had, didn't turn in homework.
Okay.
So that was us getting engaged and making sure he was doing stuff every day. We had to hold his hand.
Is he spoiled? Was he spoiled?
Maybe.
Okay.
I would say maybe a little.
Because if he was spoiled, most of this could be explained by that, which means I have to break him out of that, which means we got to get serious with the consequences and the rewards around the household. In other words, when he doesn't achieve, what are the consequences at home? And when he does well over a sustained period of time, i.e. a month, a marking period, a week, what are the small rewards that are in place? Because ultimately, you want to provide a child with what I call double motivation. You want the child to be motivated to do well, and you also want the child to be motivated not to get in trouble. So when he doesn't do well in school, what have been the consequences thus far?
We'll punish him greatly if he doesn't do well in school. We take away everything from him. I mean, he knows that, if he doesn't, if I get a call from a teacher, everything stops,
I think something else.
When it comes to stuff like that.
I think something else going on. I don't know what it is. I think something else is going on with him. I think because when we look at the causes of behavior, the motives of behavior, it's to get attention. So is he not performing because he don't feel he's getting enough attention from you or the stepdad? Is that a possibility here? Is it a situation where mom, dad, and daughter are all very tight, but he's the black sheep, as so to speak, in the family? Like, is he fitting in with the family, or does he seem like he's kind of in his own world within that house?
I would say him and his sisters are very competitive, and so they are. So in that way, I would say yes. I mean, they are competitive against one another from birthdays to, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, attention is one factor. Emotional issues could be another factor. I think you should get him to speak with somebody. I think he needs to talk with someone. A counselor. It doesn't have to be long unless they find that there's a problem that necessitates more intervention. But I think, 4 or 5 sessions to kind of investigate what's really going on here. And the other thing you have to consider too, because he is at the age he's at, his need for his own dad could also be in the early stages of starting to affect him as well. Because he's at that age where that identity becomes key in that guidance from your own dad. Doesn't mean stepdad is a bad guy at all, but every child craves their own. Every child craves their own. So he might be at a point where he really needs his dad. That's another piece too. That's another piece. And what about the one-on-one time? Are you guys, does he get to spend enough one-on-one time with you and enough one-on-one time with the stepdad?
I think we can do better at that.
That might also be it. I'm picking up that he kind of feeling like he's being overlooked for the sister to some degree, like she's being treated better than me type of a thing. Is that something that he might say even if it's not true?
Maybe. I think at times, I think they both say this, they kind of say the same thing about each other.
Okay.
But, it's kind of hard. But I think, the one-on-one time is definitely something that I think we could do better at, and we work a lot, and that's rough on them,
That's probably what it is. Then it's probably the attention. Because like you said, you guys work a lot. That might be rough on them. That's probably it. He doesn't feel he's getting enough attention, and he doesn't have his who's playing the radio?
That's not me.
Okay, can we please turn off the radio? Okay, thank you. Oh my gosh.
I don't know what that is.
Can we please turn off the music, please? We're trying to help parents here. Can we at least respect that? Yeah, I'm here. Some fool is playing Prince very loud, trying to drown out the call. Our people are so full of hate. Can we please turn off the Prince music? I'm hoping that they just get enough respect for what we're doing here and turn that stuff off. Yeah, I got to get those. I got to get those function buttons again. It sounded like they kind of turned it. They might have turned it off. Yeah, if y'all can mute that, please. Now, I don't know. Okay, I think we okay now. Okay.
I'm still here. I'm still here, doctor.
Is there any way you can? Is there any way that the biological father can be brought back into his life?
That's very scary for me because he struggles with so many things himself, and
Okay.
it's very scary. So, if I thought, I have reached out to him throughout, Aaron's, just growing up, and he always responds in a selfish way, and it sometimes it's just not about the kids, and sometimes it's more about, because we were married at one time, it's about us getting back together and stuff like that. So it's very hard to keep him focused on the children because he has his own agenda.
I got you.
I think the exact same situation. It's like looking in the mirror at what you're saying. The same age, same everything, the same marriage, exactly the thing that you're saying. It's crazy to hear somebody else say it.
Yeah, I think it's the time though. When you said that you guys work a lot and they probably, I think it's the time. He needs time. He needs time from you, time from the stepdad, because he don't have his biological dad there. I do think that's probably bothering him to some extent too as well. You might also want to look into getting him a big brother, someone else who could also, spend time with him. And in terms of the activities, it don't have to be athletic. I think a lot of times with the boys, we automatically think athletics, but he could be in karate, African martial arts, robotics, the chess club. I think he needs something else to do, especially to take his mind off the fact that you guys are busy a lot. So I would try to see what other types of activities are around in that neighborhood. But definitely a role model, a big brother, someone he can hang with would help too. And you guys are going to have to schedule some time to spend with him and his sister separately and together. So maybe once a month or twice a month there's a family night. All four of you guys do something at home together, maybe cook a meal together or go out. And then in addition to that, once or twice a month, he should be with just you and mom, 2 hours twice a month. And then with dad, 2 hours twice a month. So that's like 8 hours total for the month that he's getting with both parents. He needs that one-on-one. That's what I'm feeling. He's kind of feeling a little lonely right now.
Thank you so much, Dr. Umar. Thank you for taking time again. I appreciate you so much.
No problem. Thank you, sis. Thank you. Is there another question?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Where are you calling from?
Okay. I'm calling from New Haven, Connecticut.
New Haven, Connecticut. All right.
Yeah.
Go right
When
ahead.
you come here.
We can make that happen. I just need you to help me find a venue. We can make that happen. I just need you to help me find a church or something I can see. Okay, do that. Say that again.
I said I can get you a venue.
Okay, please do. Do you have my cell number, sister?
that the 215?
Yes, it is.
989?
Yes, it is.
858?
Yes.
Okay, I'll work on that.
All right. Once you got me a venue, let me know.
Okay.
Go right ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. So my first question is, I'm a parent of a child who has multiple, I should say, challenges as of severe allergies, severe asthmatic, and now he's at the point of now he has a learning disability. I believe that a lot of it has to do, unfortunately, this kid has been on prednisone for 7 years. With the last 3 years, the prednisone being from 4 ml every other day to now 3 ml every other day. We're becoming to be a little bit manageable with the Zoloft shot. Well, he's 7 years old. But he started into the Montessori school. At some point, I noticed that there was some difficulty with the learning piece of it. We started out with a 504. I kept expressing to them that at some point he needs an IEP. We need to be looking at that at least underneath OHI, and with some of the steroids being long-term can cause attention deficit hyperactivity. Totally ignored. I'm one of those parents that I take it all the way to the board. When I come with what the Connecticut State Department of Education states, what the state and local, as far as regulation goes, what the federal law goes. That's how I approach when I advocate for my son. It took them a while when they initially tested him for an IEP. It came back as he was on point, he was on reading level, and so forth. And I said, I totally disagree with that. I'm requesting for an independent evaluation. The independent evaluation came back, and it sort of supported what I was saying for 3 years. And then just recently in July, they did a reading assessment, which also supported the independent evaluation. And then at some point, they're stating that he should be looked at for dyslexia. Now, his pediatrician, who specialized in dyslexia, wrote a letter back last year after doing a couple of little assessments to saying that he should be tested for that, which they never did. So the battle I'm having right now, because of the physical piece of it, the impairment with the 504, they just, after the independent evaluation gave him an IEP, they're stating that he doesn't need both of them. But he just don't have the learning disability, but he has the combination of both. So that's the first question is it possible to have them both? And then
okay, is it possible to have both what? I didn't catch that.
IEP and 504.
Yes, you can have both. One, the IEP is the service agreement for a child with a special education disability, and the 50 that affects the ability to learn. 504 is a service agreement for a child with a disabling condition that affects their ability to function in the school. One is learning, one is functions. In other words, the IEP provides a child with modified instruction. They modify the curriculum to accommodate the learning needs with the IEP. With a 504, they simply provide the child with accommodations so that learning is not so that there's no obstacles to receiving his education in the school. So I want to make sure you're clear on that. So with the IEP, we're going to change the curriculum.
I think my biggest problem is because I forced them, like right now he has them both. But at some point they're saying, well, the law states that, and I'm asking them, well, show me, because
the law states what? The law states what? The law.
That he cannot have both.
That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie.
Show me.
That's a lie. First of all,
So
both.
is it possible that you can forward me some documentation I can show them where he needs to keep both?
Okay.
Because he has both right now, but they're wanting to go back to the table to incorporate what's in the 504 into the IEP.
Okay. Hear me. Couple things here. Number one, it is an absolute lie if they told you that you cannot have both the 504 and an IEP. That's an absolute lie. Okay? The 504 and the IEP are both federal laws. They are federal rights. They are both federal service agreements. In other words, they can't say, well, in our state, you can only have one. They're federal. Both of those are federal service agreements, and you can have both. I know thousands of kids who have both. Now, are both necessary? Not really, because let me explain this. On one hand, speaking as a principal and a school psychologist, it's not necessary to have both necessarily, because you can list any accommodations that a child needs can be listed on the accommodation page of the IEP. Let me repeat that. Any accommodations that a special ed child needs can be listed on the accommodations page of the IEP. So do you need a separate 504? Not necessarily, because if he needs extra time to take his test, if he needs a one-to-one aid, if he needs school counseling, if he needs a school bus, if he needs any extra accommodation, it can go on the accommodation page of the IEP. However, as his mother, you may want to have a separate 504 agreement, and I'm going to tell you why. I would suggest that a parent have a separate 504 agreement. So now you're talking about having both documents, an IEP and a 504, if the school is a trifling, messy, irresponsible, don't care about their students type of school. Why? Because if you have two separate agreements, you now have two weapons that you can use to bring against the school in the event that they don't meet your son's needs. In other words, you can hit them from the special ed law angle, which means they might have to pay for a private school, which means they might owe you compensatory ed. And then you can also hit them from the 504 service agreement angle that says you are systematically discriminating against a child with a disability, which you are not allowed to do, that you're not providing this child with the type of accommodations that they need. So if the school is not really a good school, it's not a school that's really working with you, you don't think they're really, vested in your child's best interest, then keep them both. Because now you have a Glock in one hand and you got your Colt revolver in the other hand. If it's a good school, I say put it all together on one document. Put it all in the IEP with the account. But if they're not responsible, keep them separate. Keep them separate. Now, let me say this though.
And at this point,
let me give you this though. Remember how you just asked me for some documentation to prove that you can have both?
yeah.
I got a better idea for you. Forget the documentation. What I always tell parents is whenever the school says something illegal, I want you to ask them to put it in writing. So you can attack this two ways. At the next meeting, you can say, can you please give me a letter stating that my child can have both? And I can promise you right now, I will promise you every penny I have that you will never get a letter stating that your son can only have one, because that's a lie. That they can be sued for that. You cannot deny a child either the IEP or the 504.
Dr. Umar, I think you need to lead me into a direction of someone to do. Right now, I'm at the CHRO level, and I'm fighting them for discrimination of disability. I'm fighting them for retaliation. I'm fighting them for a whole lot. At this point, I'm at the CHRO level. And when I tell you that this district is a mess, when I tell you I walk...
Wait, where are you? Where are you again?
I'm in New Haven.
New Haven, Connecticut. Okay, we're going to have to organize the parents in New Haven, Connecticut. I need you to get me that venue quick. I need you.
I have a whole bunch of parents for you ready to go.
Okay, so once you get that venue, if you can get it quickly, we can do something next month, October, if you can get it quickly. So
No problem.
make sure you text me. But one other thing I did want to tell you is you could write a letter. You could write a letter to the principal and basically say that you told me that I'm not allowed to have both, which is clearly a violation of federal law. Can you please show me the evidence of this? Well, or you could go another way. You could write a letter to the United States Department of Education Office of Civil Rights. You could write a letter to the United States Department of Education Office of Civil Rights telling them that the school told you that your child cannot have both agreements, and that will start a federal investigation. So you got a couple ways you can go with this.
Well, I think I'm going to have to go with that last one because, again, Dr. Umar, I know exactly what, and that's why I'm asking you this question, because when I tell you it's to the point of retaliation towards me, where I've been blacklisted of working in the system, because I fight and advocate for my son, because I know exactly what the law is saying to me, that they do other than that. And like I said, I'm right now I have to file a claim against them, that we're still fighting because you have a lot of people that is in this district around the special education that is tearing our children apart. And for whatever, I've gone to the Board of Education, I've written to the state, I've written to the mayor, I've written to them all for someone to come in. I didn't ask to do a systematic audit.
I got you.
That's what I'm saying to you. I don't know who, and I'm getting, it's, you have a lot of times you have people who have the mouth behind closed doors, but they don't have the mouth when it's time to stand up. And I take the loss to fight for not just my child, like the policies in this district has not been looked at since 1995, and it's 2017. I have fought them for that. I have helped them rewrite and revise the policy now, which was proposed back in April, but still have not been posted and moved forward like it was supposed to. I have contacted someone at the state level to even tell them that the policies are outdated.
Got you.
And when I tell you, no one has moved. No one has moved. And that's why I'm at this level now speaking to you.
I got you. You have my cell number, Queen?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Shoot me a text. Get that venue info. Get it for me as quickly as you can, because as soon as you get me the venue info, I'll get you the money to do the deposit and everything like that. And I want to make it for October. I want to make it for 4 weeks from now. So shoot me a text and I'm gonna call you and we're gonna work that out so we can start organizing these parents.
All right.
Okay. Stay strong too. I'm here, so I'm gonna help you through that as well. Definitely. We need you to start a chapter there, so we on it. Okay, love. Thank you. No problem. Also, before I go to the next question, a lot of people was asking me, am I selling the FDMG pillows? Yes, you can order these. If you're interested in purchasing an FDMG Special Collector's Edition pillow, red, black, and green FDMG pillow, as you can see, nice and comfortable. I'm going to have them for sale here tomorrow in Buffalo, New York. But if you want to buy one, you can text me 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858, and you can show your love in your office or your home or your study for the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Show your support for Dr. Umar Johnson. Just text me 215-989-9858, and I will send you the link to purchase the pillow, and I will ship it right out to you. Custom made by hand, FDMG pillows, Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Yes, yes, yes. And don't forget, my brothers and sisters in Buffalo, I'm here tomorrow speaking St. Luke AME Zion Church, 314 Ferry Street. Doors open up at 2. Lecture from 4 to 7. Tickets online or at the door. whatever you prefer. It's going to be powerful, so come on out. I got the books with me, the flags with me, the pillows with me. If you need to reach me by email, drumarjohnson@yahoo.com. And for my Detroit family, I have 5 schools that I have to go look at in Detroit. And I'm thinking about driving to Detroit from Buffalo, New York. I've never driven to Detroit from Philadelphia before. I've only flown, but Buffalo, New York is only 4 hours from Detroit. Buffalo, New York is only 4 hours from Detroit. And because it's only 4 hours, I'm thinking about driving to Detroit Monday so I can look at those schools to see if one of those Detroit schools will work for us. So Detroit, I might be driving on up to you on Monday. But somebody said it's real cold in Detroit already. I don't know if I want to come in all that cold if y'all freezing yet. But we'll work on that. Is there another question on the call?
Yes, I have a question, Dr. Umar.
Okay, let me take the first sister. Where you calling from, Queen?
Okay. I'm calling from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Albuquerque, New Mexico, where I spoke 2 years ago at the University of New Mexico.
I was there.
Is it time for me to come back?
Yes, it is.
Okay, then you're going to help me. You're going to help me come back. You're going to help me come back. I need you to find me a venue that can seat about 300 people.
Okay.
All right. Once you have it, shoot me a text, and the rest is history.
All right.
Okay, go right ahead.
So, I currently have a 12-year-old son. He is from 3rd grade diagnosed with ADD. He was on a form of medication. It was an extended release. Anyhow, make a long story short, when you came 2 years ago, enlightened me, so I went on this journey. I weaned him off the medication myself. I went to a pediatrician, made it official. We got him off the medication. He's been off for 2 years, doing well. I had to change his diet. I did a whole readjustment as a parent. I did a whole reevaluation of myself and with him as well. I'm looking at him now, so they still have him in special ed. We do an IEP every year that I have to request, because they will not do it unless I request it. So I request for them to do it every year. So at this point, since he was evaluated in the 3rd grade, I'm now requesting for a reevaluation because I want to get him out of special ed. Right now, the school that he goes to is a collaborative school, and they have basically have inclusion classes, so that he's really not in special ed, but they're getting the funding as if he was. You see what I'm saying? So at this point, I'm trying to see what the best route is or the best option for me to either get him permanently off of special ed, because I really had to just do some parenting 101 on myself and put some emphasis into him and just reevaluate it. I'm a very engaged parent. I'm involved with, I'm a school volunteer, but I would like to have a parent advocacy association out here because it's so needed. There's no identifiers for Black children in the state, which I would like to have that done. I've talked to our Office of African American Affairs. They don't want to do anything or implement anything. Our NAACP chapter out here is not functioning in a capacity where they want to do anything. So then we're going to have to do it on our own. I'm just trying to find out what the best avenue is to, number one, get my child either out of special ed, or they need to make the accommodations where he's learning, because right now, every time we do it, it's meeting toward progress or goals. So they can always keep them under that cap. Well, at some point, he needs to be meeting those goals. If not, the accommodations that I'm requesting for him to have tutoring, they're telling me that they can't accommodate that. So they have, what they have is they have the high schoolers come and they'll tutor them for a night. Well, I don't consider that adequate tutoring. I need a professional to tutor my son, especially if you're telling me that he has learning disability. So I just want to know what my best avenue is as far as, should I just go ahead and take him off of get him off of special ed altogether. He's in 6th grade now. He's in 7th grade this year. His 6th grade year, he ended out his year. He went the whole year and made pretty much all A's and B's and a couple of C's.
Okay, he's in 6th grade now, correct?
He just entered
Okay, he just entered 7th. What grade was he in when he was initially evaluated and placed into special ed? What grade was he in then?
He was in 3rd grade.
And what was the classification they gave him? What was the diagnosis?
It was a D class. It was D, and they classified him with ADD with hyperactivity.
Okay, it was ADHD. So, in other words, what you're telling me is he was not even in special ed really for learning. He was in special ed for ADHD, hyperactivity, and inattention, not learning. It wasn't a learning issue.
But because he wouldn't be, exactly, because he wouldn't sit down, so it was like he was almost being bored in the classroom, so he would get up and walk around. He was a social butterfly, would talk to his neighbors in class.
Okay.
And that's exactly what it was. Had no behavior issues, never has been in a fight, never had any issues with him, anything like that on that level.
If it were me, I would exit him. If it were me, I would exit him. And all you have to do is request an IEP meeting, because the IEP team is responsible for 3 things when it comes to a special ed child: program, what they learn; placement, where they learn it; and progress, making sure that they are learning at all. And what you want to do is you want to end the program. He no longer needs that specially designed instruction. And you want to end the placement. He no longer needs to leave the regular class and go to a special one in order to learn. So all you have to do is request an IEP meeting. Tell them that you're no longer interested in having my son special educated. I want him exited from special ed immediately. They're going to give you a form. It's a document that you have to sign that says you want to release your child from special ed. In the very next day, or if y'all decide, to let it go until the end of the week or the end of the marking period, he will be totally out of special ed and back in the regular classroom. That's really all you have to do. Now, with that being said,
inclusion classes now. He's not even
No. But hear this though. But hear this. Special ed is a program, not necessarily a placement. And what I mean to say, special ed means that you have a disability diagnosis and that you receive some type of special ed support. Inclusion is still special ed. It's just that the placement is the regular class. In other words, you can be in special ed and the placement be the regular classroom, but it's still special ed because you're still in the computer with the diagnosis and you're receiving some kind of a service. So it's still special ed, which means they still getting paid, because remember, special ed is money. So they're still getting paid. So you want to exit him. You want to call that meeting, tell them to exit him, ask for the form that you can sign to exit my son at this time. Now, just so you know, if they want to, they can challenge your request, which means just like a parent can challenge the school and take the school district to due process, they can take you to due process. They can contact the state and say, we have a parent who wants the child out of special ed. We think he really needs this special ed. So we're now requesting a due process hearing, which means your son will stay in special ed until the hearing officer comes down to Albuquerque to hear your argument as to why you want him out, hear the district's argument as to why they want him to stay in, and then after they hear both arguments, because the hearing officer is a de facto judge, a special ed hearing officer is a de facto judge, and then after they hear both sides of the argument, they will decide whether or not to exit your son from special ed. Now, 95% of the time, they never challenge a parent who wants to take their child out of special ed. 95% of the time, they never challenge a parent who wants to take their child out of special ed. So, and especially for ADHD, I can see if he was blind or deaf or retarded or autistic, but you're talking ADHD. I don't really think you're going to have any issue pulling him out. They might not like it, but there's nothing they can do about it. It's really nothing they can do about it. So if you want him out, get him on out. All you got to do is call a meeting and request the paperwork to sign.
And then as far as the Parent Advocacy Association, that we can get started chapter here, how do we go ahead and get that started? How many parents do I need to get
part because there's no black identifiers in the state, and the governor literally pulled out all of the African American books out of the APS school library.
Okay. Well, you need 7 members to start a chapter. And in order to start that chapter, someone, and it's pretty much the president of the chapter, which would probably be yourself, would need to attend a National Independent Black Parent Association Leadership Training Conference, which would have been held next weekend in Durham, North Carolina. Next weekend, but I had to cancel it because next weekend is also Baba Dick Gregory's homegoing ceremony weekend. So next weekend is viewing his funeral, I believe, as well as the family's memorial service. So we had to cancel Durham. But the next training is going to be in January, and I want to talk to you because we might put it in Albuquerque. We might go ahead and do the training in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
That would be great.
So what I want you to do, send me a text, remind me you're the parent from Albuquerque, and we'll talk about setting that up.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson.
No problem, love. Keep me posted.
So much.
All right. Before I take the next question, I wanted to let everybody know that on Monday, this Monday coming, I'm hosting a National Black High School Student Teleconference. So if you have children in high school, okay, if you have children in high school, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, okay, at between 5 o'clock and 9 o'clock on Monday, the day after tomorrow, this coming Monday, have them call back in from 5 to 9. I want to talk to the high school students because it's time to organize the babies. Yes, it's time to organize our high school students. So if you know of any high school students, if you have a youth group, if you have children of your own, it doesn't matter if they're high achieving or low achieving. It's about black teenagers. Please have them call into Dr. Umar's National Black High School Student Conference this coming Monday. Is there another question on the call? Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Umar. Hello?
Say that again, sis.
Dr. Umar?
Yes.
I'm calling from Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida. Tampa, Florida. Everyone else, please quiet down and mute your phones. Tampa, Florida. Go right ahead. I'll be in Fort Lauderdale, Florida on the 30th, but go right ahead.
I know, and I'm looking forward to coming, but being that sitting at my job has given me time off due to the hurricane, I may actually have to switch shifts, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to make it down there. I really look forward to it.
No problem, no problem.
I'm on an important call. Can you just please let her have this space? I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
So, I respect and appreciate everything that you're doing as far as helping the children and being able to give us the opportunity to call and ask these questions and get insight and everything that you're doing. My question is in regard to, I guess, what you think about it as far as trying to develop, I guess, like a homeschool organization. My personal life experience and, going on, things that I learned, I studied under Dr. Chambon and Dr. Bell, and when I reflect over the things that happened to me as a child, I really realized, oh, wow, this is what this is, systemic racism. And I understand that some children can go through the public school system and they're not scarred. But then other, black children, some black children can go through the system and they're not scarred. And then others come out with, all kind of issues. And because I was actually in special learning, I had special learning disability class. And I would see other kids and I said, well, why can't I be in that class? Why can't I be in the gifted class? And I had a mother, I had a great mom. I have a great mom, but she didn't really know how to advocate for me.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't really understand how to advocate and, fight for me. And I had one teacher said, she needs to get out of this class. You actually need to test her for gifted. And from that point on, I was pulled in. I have a doctor's degree now. But being the fact that I didn't have somebody that understood how things work and the systemic racism, I didn't have anybody to fight for it. So, until later, thank God somebody did come along. But my thing is, in some instances, we can't, every child should be treated the same. Every child should be treated with trying to, I guess, develop some kind of like a homeschool organization, not a platform to test the children and have, because here in the state of Florida, you can actually do your independent homeschool. You can do your testing, that, you know, the state testing and everything, and you can teach your children at home. Because actually, my son was homeschooled for a few years, and you know he does well academically. He's not now; he's in high school, but he's doing well. So I'm looking into trying to develop, I guess, like organizations of mothers or people that are able to stay home. So I guess maybe like I'm not sure if it's like a co-op, but maybe you can get like 5 or so kids together and homeschool those children, or homeschool those kids in a group. I'm not sure if logistically or even if it makes any kind of sense, but that's something that has kind of been on my heart, is a, you know, a way that we can kind of start trying to educate our children, because everybody's not going to be able to, like what you're doing, develop a school, but I guess I'm just trying to look into solutions that can kind of do.
Right. Well, with the National Independent...
More quickly.
Yes, ma'am. With the National Independent Black Parent Association, every chapter develops a homeschool committee. There's 7 chapters. 7 committees in each chapter. There's a special ed committee that deals with special ed issues, including but not limited to such things as the overrepresentation of black children in classes for the learning disabled. They look into black children being placed in special ed full time. In other words, being overly serviced. They look into poor instruction in special ed programs. They look at special ed being used as a jailhouse for black boys. The second committee is discipline, where they look at suspensions. They look at black kids being sent out to class too much. They look at expulsions. Third committee, finance. They look at how the school districts are spending the money. Fourth committee is policy. They look at the rules in the schools that disproportionately affect our children. Social support. They look at how we can support our parents better. Homeschooling, which is what you're talking about. They look at how they can build a homeschool network for the parents that are there.
Yes, that's what I'm, yeah.
Yes, so what you probably need to do is come to our next conference, which is going to be in January. That's what, you know, the location. I'm going to try to have that information ready by October 1st. So people will have October, November, and December to prepare for the January conference. So get back in contact with me October 1st. I should have that information. But you must attend the conference in order to become a president of a chapter.
Okay. All right. Sounds great. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you. And please be safe in Florida. Please be safe in Florida.
You.
No problem. Yes, sister. Where are you calling from?
Yes, I'm calling from Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. I will be speaking in Houston at the Shrine of the Black Madonna, Kwanzaa Saturday. That's Saturday, December the 30th. Dr. Umar will be at the Shrine of the Black Madonna, Houston, Texas. Go right ahead, sister.
You said December 30th?
Yes, ma'am. The last Saturday of December.
I follow both of your social networks. So would it be, the information be on those social networks?
Yes, it will.
Okay. So I have a question, and I just want to start off thanking you for taking the time out to educate us.
Thank you.
But first, my daughter, she's going to be 12 years old. She's 11 years old right now. I had an issue with her where she was acting out a lot at school. And when I say acting out, I mean like not doing her classwork, being disrespectful to the teachers, sometimes her peers. And I disciplined her. She told the teacher that she got in trouble. To make a long story short, fast forward, CPS got involved and they removed her from me. Well, hello?
Yes, I'm here. They took her from your house?
Okay,
They took your daughter from the home.
Yes, I gave her a whipping. She went to the school. She was at a white school. I removed her from a predominantly mixed school to an all-white school. So she went to the white school, and I had gave her a whipping, like a regular whipping, like on her butt, like behind with a belt. she went to school and she told the teacher. The teacher contacted the authority, and instead of CPS coming out, the police officer came out, and they asked her, was she okay? And she was like, yeah, I'm okay, but do you want to see the bruises on my butt? So she showed them the bruises on her behind, and it went on from there. Like, I got charged with a criminal charge for a child injury because she had bruises on her behind, and it was literally just on her behind, but I got charged with that. And I got put in jail, and CPS took her, but they only took her temporarily until I was done with my criminal case. So she was staying with me primarily her whole life, but her father, he was very absent at the time. And when this case happened, she went to go and stay with her father. So now she's still out there with her dad, but she wants to come back home, and she's still showing the same behavior that she did with me, with her father, but she's actually doing it so she can come back home now to me. So I know it's like, it's so much I'm trying to explain it, but I have full custody of her. I'm done with the legal case. My CPS is closed. I did the protocol that they had me do, the parenting and the counseling one-on-one. So now she's been out there with her father for almost 2 years now, and she wants to come home. And I believe that her behavior that she was having with me before her father got involved was primarily because her father was absent. And when I mean absent, I mean like he'll call, but then he didn't call, or when she'll call him, he didn't answer, or he'll say he's going to come and pick her up because he lives in Mississippi. He's going to come and get her, he's going to come and see her, but he didn't do that. And for like 2 years straight that happened. And eventually, I just noticed the more I allowed her father to act like he wanted to be involved, the more she started acting out. So she eventually, told the teacher and got me in trouble. I'm pretty sure her being at 9 years old at the time, she didn't really know that she was about to put me in jail. She probably just thought she was just telling on me or whatever or whatnot. I really don't know. But so now she's out with her father. She wants to come back home. My question is, as her mother, I want her back home. But I'm trying to see, do you believe that the behavior will get better, or will she continue with the same behavior because now she doesn't have her father again?
How old is she again?
She's going to be 12 next month.
And you live in what state?
I live in Texas.
And the father lives in Mississippi?
Yes.
How many hours away is he from you driving?
6 hours.
About 6 hours. And she's been with him for 2 years?
Yes.
And what was the main reason she went to live with him in the first place?
She wasn't going to stay with him because I had to continue my CPS closed.
I got you. I wanted to
let her stay out there until I was done with my criminal case because I didn't know if I was going to be going to jail or not.
Okay.
It was a really bogus charge,
I got you.
Because it wasn't just based on the whooping that she lied and she told them that I was locked her in the closet, that she get whoopings every day, she doesn't celebrate her birthday, she did a very extensive lying, just crazy lying. She eventually told the truth. She did. She told the truth, but like everyone knows, once it's on black and white and they got you in the system, the justice system, it's like a done deal. They don't care. And I was going to take it to trial, but I didn't want to have to sit her through that, putting her on the stand and going through all that trial stuff, so I went on to just settle for probation and just pled guilty. And because I was going through the case for almost 2 years trying to fight for my life, even though I had on several recorders, I had 2 letters documenting saying that she did lie. She even admitted that she lied. She admitted to her father that she lied, but like I said, the court system, the lawyer, the judge, they wasn't trying to hear that.
Okay.
So I had to continue on with it.
Let me ask you, why do you think your daughter, she was 9 at that time, but it seemed like she was going out of her way to paint you in a less than stellar light to the authorities? Why was that? Was it because you were strict? What do you think she felt she was missing out on that made her?
This is the thing, as me being a single parent, I seriously believe that it was a lack of consistency with her. I was always at work, or if I wasn't at work, I was with her.
But if she acted out, I would tell her I'm going to put her on punishment, but then I wouldn't put her on punishment, or she would get on punishment, and then I wouldn't keep her on punishment the same amount of time that she's supposed to be on punishment, because coming up as a child, I was very abused, like very, very abused. And I had barely disciplined her physically. So when she finally got that whooping that I had been like promising to give her, it just like something she just went AWOL. Like, oh no, she didn't. She just lost her mind. She put her hands on me. Because before it was like I said, it was a lack of consistency, and I was just like, oh, I'm gonna get on your behind, or I'm gonna, put you on punishment, or I put her on punishment. But then I feel bad because I'm at work, so now you on punishment on my off day, and now I feel like I can't spend time with you. So I'm gonna allow you to go ahead and go with me to the movies, or go to the park, or go to the museum, and spend that one-on-one quality time with her that I wanted to spend with her, even though the week prior she's supposed to have been on punishment because of her behavior at school.
Okay. Was there any trauma in her life prior to going to live with her father? Did she ever experience any sexual abuse, emotional abuse, anything like that?
No, she didn't experience any physical or sexual abuse, but I don't know for sure about the emotional, because I know from my upbringing, my emotional detachment, I don't really know how to explain it, like, from not having a mother and not having a father, so it's like I was young when I was 18 when I had her, so I wasn't properly capable of fully being there emotionally for her, if that makes sense.
I got you. Here's what I think.
And and it's one thing, I did get evicted from my apartment, so I had to move into a hotel.
I got you. Here's what I think. First of all, is the father aware of the fact that his daughter wants to return home with her mother? Is he aware?
He is aware, and he's telling her that even though, because she's acting out with him, and he's like, even though you acting out, you're not going to go back home to your mom. You're either going to go stay here and be good, or you're going to go to foster care, because you put your mom in jail.
Okay.
And, you can't go back out there and do that to your mom.
Okay, she's acting out at the father's too. That has me thinking there's more going on with her than what meets the eye. What is she doing at her father's? What type of acting out is she engaging in?
Lying a lot, not doing her classwork, literally 30 plus 60 equals snake. Like, this is what she's doing.
Okay.
But, she'll not apply herself on a test, and then she'll write a note to the teacher and tell the teacher, I tried my best, can you please give me some points? But they're really not her best, because previously when she was staying with me, they tried to put her in resource, but she took the test and she didn't qualify for resource, so that wasn't the case. So they thought that was wrong with her. Oh, maybe she needs to go. She has learning, but she doesn't have a learning disability. So that was out the window.
Okay.
So it's just that behavior, like lying a lot, not doing her work, not coming home with her homework. The same behavior that she has with me is the same behavior that she's doing with her dad.
Okay. Something's missing from the story, and you may not be aware of what it is. So I'm not insinuating that you're leaving something out, but something's missing. I'm looking at the age of the onset of the dysfunctional behavior. 9 years old for a girl is very young for them to begin engaging in those types of extreme behaviors. And then to go to the other parent and the behavior continues, the dysfunctional, oppositional behavior continues. There's something missing. What type of relationship, how would you describe your relationship with your daughter, and how would you describe her relationship with her father?
Okay, with me and my daughter, we was very close. I get up, wake up every morning, and we pray in the morning before she goes to school. She get out of school, I'm picking her up. I'm making sure that she, asking her how her day was, communicating with her, having, whenever I have time, if I'm not at work, I'm trying to spend time with her, mostly, financially, spending money on her and taking her to places and stuff like that. And
how would she describe your relationship, though?
When she's cooking with me.
How would she describe her relationship with you? Like, if I said, how was your relationship with your mother? What would she say? What would she say?
She'll tell you that she loves me. Like, she loves me. She loves being around me. Like, even now, like, that she's not with me, she sleeps with my picture, like, every night. Like, and we speak on the phone every day, and, you know, when I can go down there and see her, I go and see her, we sleep in the bed together, like,
and how would you describe,
makeup, put dress up.
How would you describe her relationship with her father?
Well, her father, he just became a part of her life when she was 9 years old. So he's mostly trying to make up for the time that he wasn't there, but he's doing it basically with material things because he has another woman that lives there, and she's expecting a child, and then he has another play child that he takes care of.
Okay, you said he has a play child. Hold on. The play child. How old is the play child that he takes care of?
She's 3.
Okay, she's 3. Okay, how did he end up with the play child? Whose child does?
So, his ex-girlfriend adopted his cousin's daughter.
His ex-girlfriend adopted his cousin's daughter and gave his cousin's daughter to him to raise?
They both share custody of her, basically, because they were together when she adopted him. So she goes back and forth with both of them. But primarily, she's always with him.
Okay, and his girlfriend is expecting a child. So there's a 3-year-old in there.
Yeah.
There's a soon-to-be newborn in there. And then we have the 11-year-old biological. How much attention is she getting from her father? Because he has the play child, the girlfriend who's expecting, a baby soon to come. I'm wondering, is your daughter getting the type of attention she needs from her father, the one-on-one? And is that the reason she wants to come back to you?
I don't believe that she is, and that's an issue for me because, or even when I'm on the phone talking to her little play sister or whatever is like right underneath her, or you know, like, or her dad is like somewhere else, or you know, he got company, or he with his baby brother, or he's dealing with the child. He just does like the normal things, like cook for her and wake her up and get her ready for school, and let her watch TV or let her ride with her to the barbershop. But you know, you give me a haircut, so she's not really chilling with you. She's giving me a haircut, so it's not really one-on-one time at all. Like no one-on-one time, really. Let
me go back to when she lived with you, because every behavior has a function. When she said all that to the authorities in an attempt to get away from you, was it because you were not spending the time with her that she needed as well?
I know that was what it was.
Okay, you know that's what it was. So basically, she has been dealing with, at least from what she perceives, as emotional neglect from both parents. Emotional neglect. First from mom, now from dad. Would that be correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I truly believe that.
I believe it is too.
I took my one-on-one counseling. She brought that to my attention, so I'm aware of that.
Okay. And you don't have any other children right now, correct?
No.
Okay. I think it's time for your daughter to come back. I think it's time for your daughter to come back.
Do too.
I think she needs the one-on-one attention from mom. Y'all need to heal your relationship. And then I think that once dad gets a little bit more stable, once the new baby comes, she can start going back over there to spend time with him. Maybe 1 week out of a month. Maybe y'all could split it 50-50. But she needs to come back to you because his environment ain't stable now. Yours is. And plus the two of you need to rectify that relationship because she's not really at the age where I would want her to be with her dad full time. Now, if this was 15, 16, 17, she's cutting up. I say, okay, she can go with dad at that time because she's already got enough emotional nurturance and guidance from her mother, because it's your job to teach her how to be a lady. It's her daddy's job to validate her actual womanhood. So I think she needs to come back to you for a couple years and get what she missed. Y'all both need to get from each other what y'all missed. And then if she needs to go back to dad later on, I think that might be okay. But she needs to come home. But in the meantime, he needs to stop saying things like you're the reason your mother went to jail. You don't say those types of things to children. So he needs to stop saying that. And he definitely don't need to be threatening her with foster care. Because remember, we're talking about a child.
No, exactly. Exactly.
who already feels emotionally neglected. So with that in mind, why would you threaten an emotionally neglected child with more emotional neglect by telling them they're going to go to foster care? So you got to get your daughter back, because if you don't, I'm afraid that this trajectory sounds like teenage pregnancy waiting to happen. Because when girls don't really have that emotional bond, they start trying to get it from another boy. And that's why we have this teenage pregnancy issue. It's not about sex. It's about that emotional support that our daughters desperately desire. So yes, it's time for her to come back. Yes, it's time for her to come back.
I absolutely believe that, because she is very intrigued with boys right now. Like when I asked her about who's in her classroom, she names the boys. I don't have any girls that she names really, and I truly understand what you're saying, and that's what I feel like she needs to be home with me. And someone was saying like, well, what effect do you believe that that's going to have on her by removing her from her father after she just got in a relationship with him and she's just not getting to know him? And I feel like I can't be concerned with that part. I need to be concerned with getting me and my daughter's relationship on track.
Right. Well, you got to be concerned with both, because they're both important. Her relationship with you as well as her relationship with her father, because she's going to need him, especially as she starts to date, 5 years from now.
But now that he's active, he can, like you suggested, get her during like once a month or during summertime or Christmas, during holiday school breaks, have that kind of father relationship with her, but be with her mother primarily.
Exactly. So, but I think the three of you need to sit down. Don't take her without the three of you sitting down and talking about her experience with him, her experience with you prior, what your expectations are for her when she comes back, because you got to set the rules down. But then also, she should be able to have some expectations for you as well. Mommy, I want to spend more time with you. Mommy, let's get a clear understanding before she comes back. Don't do that after she comes back. Do it before, so everyone is on the same page.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds really well. Like, that's good. I just needed to hear it from a professional instead of hearing it from, someone that is not really equipped to just give me their opinion. If that makes sense.
No problem. No problem at all. No problem at all.
Thank you so much for that.
No problem, sis. And good luck. Good luck as well. I'm sure it'll turn out fine.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there another question on the call?
I actually have something I'm going to say. It's not, it kind of could be a question, but I'm listening to a lot of people talk about their children. I'm sorry, I'm from DC.
Sure.
I'm listening to a lot of people talk about their children, and I was the problem child, and I want some people to just kind of talk to your kids about their curriculum and what's going on, because I didn't know why I acted out the way that I acted out, but I totally understand it now at 34 years of age. But the work wasn't challenging for me, and a lot of work that I was given, I almost felt insulted. A quick example, teacher is out, we have a substitute teacher in there, and they give you basic addition, and you're like a high school student. So I acted out, ripping up the paper, and I'm not doing this SHIT and stuff like that. So I really find out what's going on, because some of these children probably don't have ADHD. They're insulted with the level of work that they're given because it's not challenging enough. So you just have time on your hands, or you create time on your hands. I literally got frustrated with the work, refused to do it, and did whatever I wanted to do. And the sole reason is because the work was just not challenging enough. I was extremely bright. I never knew what the word potential meant around that time, but I heard it all my life. She has so much potential. I actually thought potential was an insult until I looked it up. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there, before you medicate these kids, really, really find out what in the world is going on. I was also going to ask you if you were going to attend Dick Gregory's funeral. That was one of my questions, but you already answered that. And this is completely off, but do you think you can bring a pillow with you? Because I will be there.
Yes. What I want you to do, send me a text. Now, his funeral is on Saturday, correct?
Yes.
The viewing is Friday, the funeral. Now, because I saw it advertised as a memorial service, so is that actually the funeral or is that just a memorial service?
I actually just logged off. I'm still at work. I don't want to get too much into that, but I'm still at work. I can log back on and print out an email. And then, like I said, I'll send you a text.
Okay.
And we can go from there.
Sure, no problem.
Fair enough?
Thank you.
Okay. No problem. But y'all just please, talk to the kids, see what's going on. And one other thing, their cultural differences. My family background is my family's from Nigeria, but I was born and I was raised here. There's a lot of new work going on with this weird math. I forget what they call it, Common Core math, and it's so crazy. And I'm noticing that a lot of parents are not even able to help children with their homework. So sometimes you try, just please get involved with the curriculum, because a lot of people, if you really pay attention, you'll notice that your kids are changing at school. They may be okay when they're at home, but there's a lot of influences. But just check the curriculum, see what's going on. A lot of it is insulting to children, and I think that's part of the reason why they act out. Or that's why I acted out anyway, so I just kind of wanted to mention that, so it's in the back of y'all's mind.
Okay, no, good point. Good point. Thank you for that too, sister. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome, and I'll send you that text.
Will do.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye. Is there another question on the call? Is there another question on the call? Or did I get to everybody? I might have got to everybody.
You did, but I have a question.
Oh, sure. Where you calling from, Queen?
I'm calling from Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio. Yes, ma'am.
Columbus, Ohio.
Yes, ma'am.
I do not have children, but I do have nieces and nephews and neighborhood children that I am concerned about within our school system. And I was looking online today, and a lot of the schools in my neighborhood have very low ratings, like F for elementary, D minuses for middle schools and high schools. So my question is, what do you do to help with the school system to raise the curriculum for your children to do better?
Well, good question too, by the way, Queen. I would say one of our greatest weaknesses as a people, but especially when it comes to the educational system, is we are a nation of individuals as African Americans. We don't like uniting behind anything. And so what happens is black parents are often losing a lot of these battles that they have with the schools because they're not fighting them together. So for example, let's say in Columbus, you have a kid who is being mistreated by the teacher. And then there's another kid in the same class being mistreated by the teacher. Then there's like 50 other kids in the school being mistreated by their teachers. And so you got 50 parents all dealing with the same problem, but they never organize together to fight against the problem systematically. They all do it as individuals, not even recognizing that if all 50 of you got together and made this a systematic issue. See, whenever you fight an issue as an individual parent, they're going to blame it on your child. In other words, this is the only black kid in this school who has this problem. You're the only parent in this school that has this problem. But the minute you show up with 3, 5, 10, 15 more parents with the same problem, they can no longer say it's you. They can no longer say it's your child. Now it is a systematic issue in this school. And we have to get to the level where we are fighting systematically against these problems, not individually against these problems. That's our weakness. And that's why we started the National Independent Black Parent Association, so we can start fighting systematically as opposed to individually. That's our weakness. Individual parents taking on a whole system by themselves when they have so many other parents with the same issue. And then the other thing is we have too many parents who simply don't care enough to get involved with their children's education. We have a lot of black parent apathy when it comes to public and charter school. I mean, I work in the schools, and I'm telling you, there are some parents who absolutely don't give a damn as long as the school doesn't bother them. So that apathy, that academic apathy, is something that the schools rely on, they depend on, and they expect us not to care enough to really fight back. And, you know, I would love to have you, you know, join the National Independent Black Parent Association. And I may be coming to Columbus soon as well. The pastor of the church where I'll be speaking at tomorrow here in Buffalo, New York, he is the former pastor of an AME church in Columbus, Ohio. So I'm going to be speaking with him tomorrow about seeing if he could arrange for me to speak at his former church in Columbus, Ohio, because I haven't been to Columbus in over 3 years. So I'm well overdue to come back. So hopefully I can make that happen before the end of the year.
And what did you say the National Black Organization of Parents? What was it?
NIBPA, National Independent Black Parent Association. National Independent Black Parent Association. And you can take my number as well if you want to, Queen Mother. You got a pen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's 215 989 9858.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you.
No
you
problem.
So much.
No problem. Thank you for that. Thanks for the call.
Yes, sir.
Is there another question on the call this afternoon?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure. And before you ask, for the people who are asking what's the call-in number, the call-in number is 857-232-0158. That's 857-232-0158. And the access code is 870-864-POUND. 870-864-POUND. Again, just to let everybody know, Dr. Umar Johnson will be speaking here in Buffalo, New York tomorrow, 4 o'clock, St. Luke AME Zion Church, 314 Ferry Street. Also, I'll be speaking in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, September the 30th. I will be in Paris, France, October 3rd to the 9th. Oakland, California for the Black Panther reunion conference on the 13th. Trenton, New Jersey on Sunday the 15th. La Martinique, the island in the Caribbean. I'll be there the 28th and 29th. Long Beach Black Consciousness Conference at Long Beach State, or is that Cal State Long Beach? I'll be there November the 18th. Johannesburg, South Africa, November the 24th. Queens, New York, December 3rd. Angola, Africa. I'll be speaking at the Pan-African Conference in Angola on December the 3rd. Houston, Texas, December the 30th. I'll be in Germany for their Black Consciousness Conference in March. Japan in January. But plenty more dates to come. Go right ahead, sister.
Hi, my name is Shafina,
Yes, ma'am.
and I had a question. I have custody of my two nieces, and I was trying to figure out what I could do to keep them like in a straight narrow path. I have had them for the last 5 years, and I mean it's been like total chaos between their biological father, which is a brother of mine, and that's just telling them, just keeping them in confusion. You know, he lives a very chaotic life, and since I had them, they've been doing very well with going to school and everything and getting good grades. And I'm trying to keep them there, but he fills them with so much negativity. It's kind of worrisome to me because I don't know what I should do so they won't get deterred from what they're doing now. Do you kind of get what I'm saying?
Now, what? Okay, you have custody of your brother's children, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a reason why he doesn't have the custody of the children?
Their mom passed away when they were about 4 and 2. And
Okay.
due to their type of lifestyle they live, chaos. I mean, from selling drugs to fighting, arguing. I mean, nobody wanted to take the kid because he was crazy.
Right.
You know, and I know the reason behind him being crazy, but I'm just concerned about the kids' well-being. And since I have taken them, you know, he's just been creating chaos, like trying to talk bad about me. Like if they tell him anything good, he'll try to turn away from the conversation, like, oh, you could have did that out here with me, instead of saying, oh, good job. Like if they tell him he's up there on vacation, he's like, oh, that's where y'all went, y'all always go there, and just start a new conversation. And I mean, he's just really negative. Like he called one day and told them somebody was shooting at him, and I'm like, why would you call the kids and tell them somebody's shooting at you? You know, so I tried to not let them talk to him for a while because, you know, I felt like they was getting depressed.
Right.
You know, but I'm the wrong person when I don't allow him to talk to them. But he just tells them everything, and he tells me, oh, I'm keeping it real with them. That's why. And I'm like, you can't do this with children.
Right. Question. Well, you said he's filling them with negativity. What is he saying to them?
For example, one day he called and was telling them he's hungry, he ain't got no money, he can't pay his bills.
So he's sharing his personal problems. He's sharing his
girlfriend that he's with. She's at the time when he first got with her, she was 16, and now they got a kid together, and it's 5 years later. Oh, I want y'all to beat her up when she get on his nerves. He'll call her and tell them that, you know, he wants them to beat her up because they're only like 4 years older than her. Right. And mind you, he's like 34, 34. And I mean, it's ridiculous. And he's telling them that he never lets them get comfortable. Oh, I'm gonna come get them. I'm gonna come get y'all. I'm coming to get y'all. I'm like, they're never gonna get comfortable because you always say you wanna come get them. So finally, I went and got full custody of them because it was like I kind of got to take control of the situation because I need them to feel stable for one, you know?
Right.
But in the beginning, I didn't get custody of them because I was only supposed to have them for about 2 months. And now it's 5 years later. You know, but he's still carrying on. Like, right now, he's in jail. But, you know, if it's not one thing, it's another. We just call it with negativity. And they're 14 and 16, so they have cell phones. So it's not like, you know, I can just stop them from talking to them.
Right. Well, you just said something that clarified the situation. I didn't know they were teenagers. They're 14 and 16, as opposed to 9 and 11. So they're kind of at an age where, wow, that you really can't stop them or him from sharing, you know, what they want to share with each other. You know, they're teenagers. I didn't know they were that old. So that kind of changes things. Is it affecting them at all? Like, is it affecting how they're functioning? Like, are they difficult children, or is everything getting along well? They are.
Okay, when I
go ahead.
They was 9 and 11, but now they're 14 and 16. No, one time he came out here to visit, and he started getting a little belligerent in the restaurant. And when he left, they were depressed. Like I could tell, they didn't come out their room. One was laying down. She wouldn't get up. She was barely eating. You know,
counseling, family counseling, family counseling. It's going to, okay, when he comes out of prison, you're going to have to start family counseling with him. Someone who's going to have to teach him how to interact with his.
He don't believe in counseling. He does not believe in counseling. When I took them to counseling, he told them, he said, why would y'all let her take y'all there? Y'all not crazy. And I'm like, why wouldn't they go to counseling? I thought they saw their mom die in front of them. You showed them the crazy lifestyle you live, and you have an alcohol problem. Of course they would need some type of counseling. He was like, they're not not crazy. They're smarter than you.
Wait a sec. They saw their mother.
Now, mind you, I'm a therapeutic counselor. I ain't gonna say that.
But wait a second. You said they saw their mother die in front of them?
Yeah, when she was 4. One was 4 and the other one was 2. But she kind of collapsed in front of them, and it was due to an overdose.
Okay.
You know.
Then they need.
Okay. Like that's doing the wrong thing.
They need counseling.
Pretty much.
They need counseling themselves. They need counseling themselves. Separate from the dad, they need counseling themselves. Have they gotten that? Because that is a very traumatizing.
I take them, yes, I do take them to counseling, but he has made them feel like they're in the wrong, and that he made them feel like they're inadequate for wanting to go to counseling. Like
Okay.
they can't.
I don't like what I'm hearing.
Oh, that's for slow people. That's for slow people. I said, no, that's for teaching you how to cope.
Here's what I think. I think it's time for you, as his sister, to give him an ultimatum. You're going to come to counseling. First of all, you're going to get counseling for yourself because you got issues. But you're going to come to counseling with your children as well. And if you refuse to go, I will have the court eliminate you from visiting with these or communicating with these children. I will have the family court judge prohibit you from interacting and communicating with your children if you do not go to family counseling. I think it's time for you to give him an ultimatum, because this sounds like he's emotionally traumatizing these children who have already been through enough seeing their parents die.
That's how I got custody of them, because I told them all of this that was going on. And I did this already. I told them, I said, you need to come to counseling with the kids. I will not be involved. You and the kids go sit and y'all talk. And he told me no. At first he was acting like he was going to do it, and then he told me no, he wasn't going to do it. He didn't show up. So when I went to court, I told them about everything, and I also told them that, well, first he didn't even show up to court. Let me say that. He didn't even show up to court. And I told them, like, is it possible y'all can limit his visitation? And they was like, no, we can't limit his visitation. You just got full custody, and if you don't allow him to see the kids, he can't see the kids. And I'm like, yeah, I understand that, but it comes to a point where he's still calling, because I don't think, I mean, they're in a different state of them. I don't take them to see him, but they still talk to him on the phone, and that's where the emotional damage comes from, is over the phone conversations.
Okay. So then you know what then? What needs to happen is, I think the three of you, the children and auntie, need to go to counseling together as a family to talk about, to help them process what they're going through, and to help them decide if they want to continue to go through it. Because if they're answering the phone, it could very well be because they feel guilty about not talking to their dad when he wants to communicate. So I think they need to talk about that in counseling. You know, how do you feel about that? You know, y'all don't like the negative information, but that's your dad. They need to process that and maybe come up with some strategies for how they want to deal with it. Maybe they need to be told that it's okay to not take some of the calls. You know, maybe they need to write their father a letter and tell him how he's making them feel, because it doesn't sound like he's ever heard from them as it relates to how they feel about him and what he's doing. Maybe they're intimidated. So it might be time to write a letter. Maybe it could be a counseling session where they actually write a letter to their father telling him how he makes them feel. But because he's not participating, I think counseling can still involve him to an extent as a silent participant, as an invisible participant. But I think counseling needs to focus on their relationship with their father and how they can navigate it. Because, you know, it's going to get to a point where they're not going to want to be around him when they move on with their lives. And I don't want that to happen. You know, it just sounds like he's at a place where he needs to work on himself and stop contaminating their life with his negative energy. But he's not going to do that because maybe he feels that his children are the only ones who care about him, or whatever the case may be in his own mind.
on the way. He's been living with me for the last 5 years, and he has not gave me not one penny, which I'm fine because, you know, God bless, I'm in a situation where I'm okay to take on these kids. But, you know, it's been very stressful for me, and I've been talking to them. I taught them about alcoholism. I taught them about how counseling does help people, and I tried to use an example about like coping and everything like that. And one day, one of them had overate some ice cream, and I was like, "Remember, I told you not to eat all that ice cream, and you ate it anyway, and it made you throw up all over the place." I was like, "Now imagine if you would have listened to me, you wouldn't have had that problem." I said, "But when you talked to your father, he told you it was okay to eat all that ice cream, right?" And he started laughing. I was like, "Yeah." I said, that's how you know, working and listening to your parent who actually is in a predicament to see that it will hurt you ahead of time works. You know, and because I have to break down a lot of stuff to them because he tries to make it seem like everything is all good and you can do whatever you want, and she don't know what she's talking about, even though she the one that's been raising you.
Right.
You know, she don't know what you're talking about. She's just trying to keep you from me. And that's not the situation. Like, when I brought them up to New York, you know, I let him come visit, and I talked him into staying with us because he wanted to take them out of there. And one of them pretends to be sick. I knew she wasn't sick because she was all gun-ho in the car while we was driving up there and everything. And once we got there, she heard he was coming. All of a sudden, she said her stomach was hurting, and I felt like it was either her nerves was bad, but I mean to the point that she came to me crying, asking, "Can I just stay with you, please? My stomach hurts. I don't feel well." And you know, the same one, she also broke down in a therapy session and started crying and saying she didn't want to leave me. You know, and excuse me, stuff like that is just so hard on me, you know, because at one point he was one of my favorite brothers, you know, before we got these kids involved. Once we got the kids involved, I had to show him that it's about these kids. I no longer can be your favorite sister and always co-signing on all the BS that you're doing when it comes to these kids. Because he used to have them in the street 3 o'clock in the morning. People would be calling me, telling me that he's drunk, walking through the street with them. And I'm telling him, like, you can't do that. And he's like, "Oh, well, I mean, we took a cab. We wasn't walking. We took a cab." No, you can't have 2 little girls in the street 3 in the morning and you're drunk. He has been in a fight with them there. He has got hit in the head with a car while they're there. They seeing this. They seeing all of this. They know more about hustling than I do. And I don't know nothing.
I got you.
You know, and now it's to the I'm like, where I go with them, because I'm just to the point that right now I have them on. They didn't do their chores, and I've already heard some negative stuff he was saying. So what I did was I took their cell phone, and I really didn't take their cell phones because they didn't do their chores. I really wanted a reason to take their cell phones so they didn't have to listen to him because they were starting school, you know? And I didn't want them to start school in a bad state. So I tried to take their phone like a few weeks before school started, just so they didn't have all that negativity on their head. And you know, that was the best I could do.
I got an idea. Not to cut you off. I'm sorry about that. When he comes back out of jail, where do you live at again? You're in Texas, right? No.
No, I'm at VA.
You said VA, Virginia?
Yeah.
Okay. When he gets back out, I want you, him, and I to have a conference call, the 3 of us. I'm not sure if he is familiar with who I am, but it don't even matter. Just say, "Listen, I know a school psychologist, and he wants to talk, you know, with the 2 of us about the children before you talk to the children. Would you be willing to have a telephone conversation, because I would really like to get his perspective on how he views the situation with his children, because it sounds like he may be oblivious to the negative impact that he's having on them, and maybe, you know, the three of us talking together, that might help the situation some.
Yeah.
What do you think? You think we should give it a shot?
I definitely think we should give it a shot. Anything to help him. I don't hate him. I'm just trying to
How
help
old
him.
is he? How old is he?
He's 34.
Oh, he's a young guy, 34. Okay, young brother. Okay. Do you have my cell number?
No.
Let me give it to you now.
Okay.
215 989 9858. 215 989 9858. When he gets out, just text me and remind me. I'm the auntie from Virginia who has custody of my two children, and we spoke on the call. And I'll remember you.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much.
No problem, sweetheart. No problem. Thank you. Is there another question on the call?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Where you calling from, sister?
Oh. Yes, my name is Arisha, and I'm calling from St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis, Missouri. Go right ahead.
Okay, well, first I'd like to thank you for allowing me to speak with you.
No problem.
This is somewhat positive and it's a negative. I'm actually a bit confused on what I should do with my situation. I have a child in a school, and she's very well educated. I mean, she's an honor roll student since she's been in school. And I have her in a private school that is predominantly black. And I chose the school due to the fact that majority of the schools in St. Louis, their teacher-to-student ratio is so high that I didn't want her to get thrown off with her education when she got to high school. So she's 15 years old. She's an 11th grader. She has full college credit hours and as well as honors class. So by the time she finishes 11th grade, she'll have like 10 credit hours, college credit hours, before she even gets to 12th grade. And I'm not financially stable to where since she started high school, she's been on like a full scholarship at this private school. And so now we have like this new person working in admissions or whatever who's kind of questioning me as to where her different scholarships have come from. But when she first got there, a lot of her scholarships came from essays and grants and financial aid and all the different things that she did to get there because of her, educational level. And it's kind of difficult for me because I'm confused as to why they have certain kids that aren't even meeting the standards of having an education at all, but she keeps bringing so much money to the school because of her grades. I mean, people are coming meeting her. They have $1 million people coming up in this school that want to sit down with her, and they're giving them funding. And then this year, they're actually, pulling me to the side now that I have to pay a tuition, and I can't even find ways to even get her booked. And I'm like, and they're doing it a lot of the time in front of her. And so she, from 15, I think she's pretty strong, but it's starting to look like it's taking a toll on her to where it seems like they're trying to break her down, but it's an all-black private. And so it's kind of frustrating to me. And so then I try not to get upset, but then I'm like, I'm not understanding how come they can't find a way to unify and find a way to fix it when it comes to the academics and education, but yet they stick together so strongly when it comes to the athletics. And so when I question them and I take the power of going through the chain of command and asking questions, then I get harassed. And so when I first started asking the questions and I went through the chain of command, it was like I started getting emails, and then next thing you know, that's when they drew me the whole letter about the tuition thing. At first, they weren't even saying anything about tuition. Now, all of a sudden, once I started saying what I had to say, then they said I had to pay. So it's like, thinking, now it's too late. Should I take her off of school or try to find a way to pay for it to stay there? Because now she's, off of the finish line.
Are you able to get any more scholarships to cover the cost?
I mean, I don't even know where to start.
Okay, so basically they're harassing, if I'm hearing you correctly, they're harassing your daughter about her tuition.
Pretty much. I mean,
I don't think that's appropriate. I don't like that. Adult conversation should be between adults. No child should ever hear from adults at their school about their parents' challenges getting the tuition paid. For me, I would have a problem leaving my child there if they did that. That's very disrespectful. It's insulting, and it's harassing. Why are you talking to my child about tuition? Obviously, she can't pay it. She's a child. I don't like that. But it also sounds like you might have to get her out, unfortunately, if the tuition can't be paid, because they're creating an unhealthy environment for your daughter. Now it's almost, she probably feeling like she don't want to go, because when she see them, they're just giving her a look like, where's the money? So, I mean, I think you have to decide whether or not you're going to be able to cover that bill. If not, I think you got to get her out of there, because it may be becoming an uncomfortable environment for her.
I mean, because she just recently, all of a sudden, she's like, I don't feel good, and I'm like, what do you mean you don't feel good? And next thing you know, now she's sick, and I had to, I'm like, just randomly, now you're getting sick at school, and, her mood is kind of switched up a little bit. And I'm like, I don't like that. I finally had tried to get her involved in a sport, but she wasn't really big in sports. And then we had the coach tell her in front of her face, there's a strong possibility you may not make the team, because I already got girls that are still sliding. So I'm just like, I don't know. It just seemed like at one point I thought, because it was a all-black school, I don't like saying black at all, but because there was just so many people filled with melanin in this school that they would all come together and act like they had some sense. But
no, that don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing. With the rise of
recording started.
With the rise of Obama, coonism is back in effect. So a lot of black people are definitely down with the coon psychology. They're down with the coon ideology. We are cooning. Black America is back cooning like we've never cooned. We ain't cooned like this in a very long time. So just because they're black, that don't mean anything. We are dealing with the return of the coon, unfortunately. But I think it's time to get your daughter out that school. Give it a little bit more time. See if you can, make the ends meet financially. But because it's the start of the school year, if you're going to get her out, we need to move her kind of soon. So that's a decision you probably got to make in the next 2 weeks, because it's early. So you don't want her to miss too much at the school she's going to be transferring to, because no two schools are on the same curriculum calendar. So if we have to move her, we need to move her soon, because the good news is we're still at the start of the year. So she hasn't missed too much, but we don't want too much more time to go. I think we got to get her out of there by the end of September if we're going to do it.
And they kind of like, the lady in the financial office, she, ever since I keep up with all my paperwork, and so when she said when she put the letter in the mail, it wasn't dated at all. And everything is usually dated, and I keep up with all my paperwork. And so, she's like, well, I have to speak with management. And so I keep calling her every week, and she's like, well, I haven't been able to speak with the last person who was in charge, who no longer works here. And so I'm like, are you prolonging this so that I'll be bound to a contract, so if I fall back, that I still have to pay this amount, So then it's like, it would be no reason to even withdraw her.
How long has she been there? How long has she been at the school? How many years?
Since her
Oh, she's been there since her freshman year, and she's now a junior?
She's now a junior. She's been on full scholarship her freshman year.
Why did they take the scholarship? What happened to the full scholarship?
The lady said that she never could. Since she got there like last year, she said she couldn't figure out where all of these funds were coming from. I said, well, they were given to her from the school. She was like, well, we don't understand why the school would give it to her. I said,
What lady? Okay. What lady? What is the lady's position who said that? What is her position at the school?
She works in admissions and financial aid in the office.
Okay, you know what you got to do? I know what you got to do. Because basically you're telling me your daughter been on full scholarship at the school. A new person comes into the finance office and they cut her money. Am I hearing that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. You need to write a letter to the chair of the board of trustees or directors for that independent school. You want to meet with them. Every parent, even of a private school, has a right to meet with the board of directors, the trustees that oversees that school. Every school got to have one by law. You got to have a board of directors, and you want to bring this case to them. You want to bring this case to them because this almost sounds like some racial discrimination. It sounds like a certain racist has joined the school team, and they don't like the fact that this black kid is going for free, and they cut it. And I'm surprised that the principal let this happen and whomever else let this happen. But I think you need to write a letter to the board. Before you go, you need to write a letter and have a hearing. I'm requesting a hearing with the board of directors to find out why this person was given the power to eliminate my child's full scholarship. That sounds like racism to me. And I might even say that at the meeting. This sounds like racial discrimination, that y'all allowed this person to come in here and because they have a racial bias against African-American children, cut my daughter's scholarship. Get that letter done ASAP. And if you need me to look it over before you send it in, you can call me and read it to me over the phone or email it so I can look at it. You need that letter to the board.
Okay.
Yeah, do that. Do that ASAP because if we're not successful...
I don't. I'm like, she's been an honor roll student for her to be 15 years old. She got all of her community service hours done her freshman year. I mean, she works for job helping and training minors. I mean, she already getting 10 credit out, college credit hours.
Yeah. Write your letter, Queen. Write your letter. I don't want her to have to leave. She get that letter done, though, because if we do have to move her, we still want to try to get her out there before September. We can get all this done. You know, find out when the next board meeting is. Find out when the next board meeting is because you need to be there. You need to be on the agenda at the next board meeting. If they haven't had their September meeting yet, you need to get on that agenda. So you really need to move quickly.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Umar.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time to speak with me.
No problem. Keep me posted on that. Okay. What? Okay. Is there another question on the call?
Hello, Dr. Umar, I have a question.
Let me go with the brother. Where you calling from, good brother?
Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas. That's a place I need to get back to as well. Go right ahead, my brother.
Okay, my son, he's in the Mosquito School District.
Okay.
And he's in special ed, but he told me that they've only got him in one class, which is English. And I thought once you're in special ed, that meant that you were special ed for all subjects. And I'm trying, he's in 8th grade right now, and I'm trying to talk to him over summer. And I want him to get out of special ed totally. So he told me that he's in special ed for one class, which is English, and he's in general classes for his other classes. But he also has 2 teachers in some of those other classes.
Okay.
And I was wanting to know what could I do to help him totally get out of special education.
Who has legal custody? You or the mom? Who has custody?
She has, we both do, but they live with her.
Okay, they live with her.
Anytime he calls me, I can pick him up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning if he want me to. But
okay.
We have pretty much open. This is not, nothing is denied, you know, if I want to pick him up, and I can go pick him up without any issues. Because he's at that age now where he's been kind of...
What? How old is he? How old is he? How old is he?
He's 14.
14? 9th grade?
Yes.
Okay, 14. 14 in the 8th grade. Okay. What is his learning disability in? Okay, you said he only gets English for special ed, correct? So what is his disability? Is it reading? I'm wondering what his disability is. It might be reading. Does he need that class? Does he need special ed at all? Because he's only getting it for one class. So naturally, I would have to ask the question, does he need it at all?
Man, I don't know. I went to an IEP meeting last year, and I signed the paperwork to keep him.
No. What do you feel? No, I'm asking, what do you feel? Do you feel he needs the special ed at all? Because he's only getting it for one class, which is good. I'm glad. He's only getting it for one. So my question is, does he even need it for that? Like, does he even need special ed? Does he feel he does? Does he?
Really can't. I'm not really sure because I have a work with him in English.
Okay.
But I have he's really smart in math and all of his other subjects. But English I haven't. He lies to me a lot about doing homework, and I try to get him to do the. They don't give him textbooks. Everything is online. I don't really like that.
I don't like that either. I don't like that either.
And it makes it hard for me to help him because I don't know exactly what he needs, what I can help him with. Like he brought some homework home, and I essentially asked the teachers they email me a copy of the handouts that they're giving him for class and come over just in case he may not want to tell me about it because he don't want to help it. But we have an issue with that too.
Yeah, I feel like you, him, and the mom need to have a serious conversation about whether he really needs that or not. Because me personally, I don't want him in special ed at all. He's in high school. I think Texas is a high school graduation test state. I think Texas, you have to pass that test to get your diploma. So I really don't want him missing no major regular ed classes. I would just like to see him exited. How long has he been in special ed? What grade was he originally placed in special ed?
Around the third grade, I believe. Third grade.
So that was a long time ago. He went in special ed in the third grade, which in my opinion was too early anyway. And that was a long time ago. I mean, that was third grade. Now he's in ninth. That's 6 years ago. I think it's time to exit him. But you want to talk to him and his mom first, because sometimes children who've been in special ed for a long time, they can be a little fearful of leaving special ed because they've been made to think that they need this special service. So I would really like to know what he thinks about it. Is he ready to kick away the crutch and just stand up on his own? I think it's time to exit him because he's in high school now. He got put in special ed when he was in the third grade in elementary school. He's high school. I don't think he needed it. Now, does he get in trouble a lot in school? The fighting and suspensions? Does he have any of that?
No.
Okay.
He's in elementary school, but high school, he doesn't. He hasn't since been. When he was in elementary school, he's in middle school now. He'll be a freshman next year. But
okay, he's in eighth grade right now. Eighth grade right now. He's in eighth grade. Okay, this is what I would do. I would prepare for ninth. And what I mean, y'all could exit him now. I don't see nothing wrong with that. Maybe take him to the middle of the year and say, listen, son, we taking you out after Christmas or out after Thanksgiving, whatever the case may be. But I think he needs to start ninth grade as a full-fledged regular ed high school student. So you and his mom, y'all can start preparing him now. We're getting you out of this. This is your last year. So get what you're going to get, because when you get to high school, we don't want no more of this. But get his opinions on it, too, to see where he's at. But I'll give him one more year. If he feels he needs it, because he might be ready to go now. But if he feels he needs it, I'll give him one more year. But next year, I would take him out. The stakes are too high. He can't afford to be, in special ed for language, because that means he's missing the regular ed language. And George Bush, see, what I try to get parents to understand is that George Bush changed the game. When No Child Left Behind came out, I think that was like 2004. Or 2001, whenever that was, when No Child Left Behind came out, George Bush changed the game because for the first time, special ed children would also be held to the same standard of achievement as regular ed kids when it comes to state and national assessments. So that means that if the state says you got to take a test to graduate, the special ed kids got to take it too. That's why we got all these black kids who are not getting diplomas. They're getting certificates of completion, because No Child Left Behind says even if you special ed, even if you learning disabled, you still have to pass the test. And that's why special ed is a big weapon against our children now because of the No Child Left Behind law. So, you know, I really think y'all should start preparing him to get out of that.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to get his STARS test from his results from last year, but I was actually I forgot. By the time I thought about it, school was already out. But I think he did pretty well on that STARS test for the seventh grader.
I got you. And if he did well on the state test, he definitely don't need no special ed. If he did all right on the state test, he definitely don't need no special ed. Because the state test, they're the most difficult test you get. So if he's doing all right with that, then I would get him out of there.
But you know, I need to get those results from last school year to make sure, because I didn't get the results. But he told me he passed.
Well, what you need to do, you know, as the non-custodial parent, what you need to do is you need to write a letter to the principal requesting a complete copy of your son's academic record. That's what you need to do. That is your right. It is under federal law known as FERPA, F-E-R-P-A, FERPA, and that stands for Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. And basically the letter will say, I'm requesting a complete copy of my son's academic record. This is my right under the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act law of 1974. Please let me know when the copy will be ready and if there is a fee associated with my request. They can charge you for the copy. It might be $20, nothing major. You know what I mean? But get the record so you know what's in your son's record, just in case mama ain't telling you everything. But even if she is telling you everything, you want to get a complete copy of his record every couple of years anyway, because you never know what's inside that record. So you always want to police that record. Make sure there ain't no nonsense being put in your son's file.
Okay. I sure appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you in Houston in December.
Oh, yes, sir. Looking forward to it, my brother.
All right. And you said I also want to start a chapter of National Black Parents Association here in Dallas.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Yes, sir.
When will you be having that national convention?
That next one going to be in January, and I should have the details by October 1st.
Okay, that'll work. Is there a fee that I need to pay to?
Yeah, it's $50 to register. Yeah, $50 to register. So I'll have all that on October 1st. I'll be able to just text you the link.
Okay.
No doubt.
Thank you for your time.
No problem, my brother. No problem.
All right.
All right. Is there another question on the call? Yes, ma'am. Where you calling from, my sister?
Vegas.
Las Vegas is in the building. The city that killed Tupac. I'm just kidding. Go right ahead, sister.
Okay, so I'm actually calling about my brother because so we live in Vegas with both of our parents, my mother and my father. I just graduated high school, and so he started high school last year, my senior year, his freshman year, and my brother's very smart. He's a very smart little boy. And we actually lived in Colorado before he moved to Vegas. My mother got very ill, so we had to move here. And when he was in Colorado, they wanted to literally skip him grades. He was super smart. And he is still super smart. And, you know, when we moved to Vegas, he just completely changed. And it was really hard for him. And he started acting out at school. And my dad, we have both of our parents. My dad is he's a disciplinarian. My dad's from Arkansas. He doesn't play, none of that. He's very involved in our lives. So it's not like he's not getting attention at home or anything. It's just, I don't know how to get him. We don't know how to get him engaged in school. Like, he wants to play basketball. He shouldn't play basketball because his GPA is not right. He's failing classes, and it's just like, it was really hard for him. So my mom got a new job. She's doing well, thank God. She got a new job back in Colorado. And so my mom sent him ahead to stay with my older sister to start school. He just started in school. And they're like, well, he has to repeat his freshman year. And
graduate, and I'll have to work really hard to graduate early, which is really on time for him, but I'll do it. But it's like, I don't know how to get him, you don't know how to get him to a state where he cares.
How old is he? How old is he? How old is he?
He's 15.
He's 15? So how is, okay, so he's in school right now at 15, public school?
Yeah, public school.
In Colorado?
Yeah.
Denver? He's in Denver? He's in Denver, sister? Denver?
No, he's not Denver. He's in the Springs.
Okay. Okay. How is he doing in school right now? Is he in danger of failing, or how's he doing?
No. So they started him freshman. It basically is like he's passing everything. It's his first couple of weeks. He's doing everything. Like, I don't know. He's fine now. But I don't know how to, like, he's like, I don't want to go. I don't want to do it. Like,
Does he not like the school, though? Is it the school? Is it the parents?
It's not the school. No, it's not the school.
What about the parents? Is it the parents? Does he have a relationship problem with his parents?
No, oh no, our parents are very, we're very tight and we talk about our problems together. We're very open about everything.
Okay.
We're not.
How did he do last year? Has he struggled? Like, is he in? How did he do last year? How did he end the year last year? Was his grades?
He was.
Go ahead.
I'll put it like this: the reason he had to do his freshman year is because he didn't have enough credit to be a sophomore. And my parents did everything they could. They met up with counselors and principals, and they did everything they could possibly do. They talked to him. They took the game away. They took the phone away. They took everything. They really tried to do everything they could, and he still didn't care. He just doesn't care. He couldn't play the basketball. He couldn't play, and he still didn't care.
Okay. You two are the only children?
No, we have an older sister. That's who is in Colorado until my mom gets down in the apartment in Colorado.
But
they're not the only one.
He's the youngest, though. He's the youngest.
Yeah, she's the baby.
It sounded like he was spoiled. He was spoiled, wasn't he? He was allowed to have his own way.
No.
He wasn't spoiled?
No, we're not spoiled.
No, not y'all. Him. Because he's not a spoil. He wasn't spoiled?
Mama didn't answer that. Mama says she let him get away with things. But my dad is very on him, though. He's spoiled enough.
Okay. The parents are not together, right? They're not together?
No, our parents are together.
Okay, they're still together. Okay.
They're married.
Okay.
Yeah, and our dad is. I want to make it clear that our dad is really in our life.
No, I got you. I was trying to determine. Okay, you said he didn't have enough credits. He had to. He did ninth grade twice. He had to do ninth grade over, right?
Yeah, he's doing ninth grade again. Yeah, over again.
Okay, he's doing ninth grade now.
Yes.
Okay.
So
I got you. He's in high school.
Okay.
He didn't do well enough last year, so he got to do ninth grade over again this year.
Yes.
Okay. From kindergarten through 8th grade, how did he do? Was he okay until 9th grade? Or did he struggle throughout?
No. When he started middle school, K through 5th grade was in Colorado. He was good. He was great. He was excelling more than the kids he was to school with. They wanted to skip in grade. When we moved to Las Vegas, everything changed. He started acting out, grades were a thing. He wanted to be Mr.
Okay, so we know when. So let me ask you this. Why? What do you think caused it? Was it the change? Is it the school? What do you think it was?
Honestly, in my heart, I want to say it had a lot to do with school because in Colorado, it was a culture shock for the both of us when we moved. It was different because in Colorado, it was like, I don't know how to, we didn't see the things we saw here. It was definitely like, it's a culture shock. Like,
Colorado was a white school, Vegas is a black school? Colorado was
Yeah.
a...
Yes.
Okay, so...
In Colorado, it was like we were kind of like the only black kids at school. And then when we came here, we were surrounded by our people. But it was like Vegas is really, a lot of people don't understand. There's things that go on and we see things that we shouldn't see. And I know, like, even with our parents being very present in our life, society does play a big hand. But even then, so I still, even he moved out of it. He's still like not understanding. You're better. You can do better. You are better. We were raised to do the best. Be the best we can.
Right,
be.
but okay, but hold on. Let's go back because we trying to isolate the issue that's affecting him. So is it that he's around a lot of street smart black kids? Is he feeling unsafe in that environment? Is he being bullied in that environment? What is the actual trigger? Like what is the most shocking? Because he's around black kids, so that shouldn't be the shock, but it might be what they're doing. Like, is it a hood school? Like, what is it? What is so shocking about being around the black kids? Because he's black.
We're black ourselves.
Exactly. So
We're
what's so
black.
shocking?
I don't know. I don't know if it's him trying to get something he's not. I think that plays a lot in it.
Is he trying to fit in? Is he trying to fit in to be accepted?
Yeah, he wants to fit in with things.
Well, that's the problem. That's the problem right there. That's the problem. He wants to fit in. He's not used to that environment. He feels different, and he wants to fit in so he don't stand out like a sore thumb. Vegas ain't the problem. The school is the problem. So the question becomes, does he need to go to another school?
I mean, he's at another school right now. He's not in Vegas right now. He's in Colorado. He moved back with my sister.
Okay, he moved back to California. Okay, he's back in Colorado with his sister, but he's separated from you guys now, though, correct? Isn't he now separated from mom, dad, and sister? He's back with sister, but he don't have the rest of you guys, correct? Hello? Princess, did I lose you? Okay, I think I lost her, but what I was going to say is I think that even though he's back at a school where he's comfortable, he don't have his family, though. So it's still not a good fit because you sent me back, but I'm not back with my family. I'm back with my sister. So I think Australia, Young Lucini on Facebook. Young Lucini, me and my team would like to invite you to Australia. I'm ready for Australia. Australia and Antarctica. I think those are the only two continents that I haven't been invited to. Antarctica ain't got no life on it, so we ain't got to worry about that. So it's I think Australia, the last continent. Yeah, I did North America, South America, Asia, Africa, Europe. So I need Antarctica. So Young Lucini, add me on WhatsApp or send me an email. Okay, Dr. Umar Johnson at yahoo.com. Add me on WhatsApp, 215-989-9858. I'm ready for Australia. The land dialed under. Black Australia. The prince is coming. Young Lucini, let's make it happen. Send me the email, or you can email my assistant directly, drumarspeaks@yahoo.com. Let's make Australia happen. Is the young lady back, or are you back, princess, or did I lose you? I think I lost her. Okay. Is there another question on the call today?
Yeah, King, I got a question.
Yes, sir. Where you calling from?
St. Louis.
St. Louis in the building. Go right ahead.
All right. Here's my question. I have a sister. She has a 11-year-old son. He stayed with me at the time because she was having a problem dealing with him. And this when he was going into kindergarten, so pre-K, he was such a behavior problem that she was saying, okay, well, he needs a man in his life, and could you take him? And at the time, I didn't have kids, so I said, yeah, I'll go ahead and take him. So I did that. We had no issues. Initially, we had the first week or two of school. He tried me. We got it all figured out. He was fine after that. But in the time that I had him, instead of her getting herself together, she said she wanted to go back to school, get herself together, and then she'd be more prepared to raise him. But what she ended up doing was getting pregnant again. So she ended up having a second child while I had him. And then I guess the talks about her not having her child amongst her friends and peers started get to her. So she was saying, okay, well, let me go ahead and take my time and go ahead and figure this out. So now she got 2 boys, and one's already a handful for her. So fast forward, like I said, so he was in kindergarten. Now he's 3rd, 4th grade, and now she has him on medication for what is ADHD. He came over one day because he's usually full of energy, running around, having fun. He comes over one day looking like a zombie. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, what's wrong with him? Like, he in trouble or something? And she was like, he's on his medications. And she was happy to have him that way. And I was like, really? Because it was heartbreaking to see it like that. And I'm like, yo, that's not the way. And I've even discussed this situation with her in regards to some of the things I've heard you lecture about. So I'm like, yo, you need to, try to find another way to get this kid, some help. And I'm like, this is not the key. We understand that it's, you don't want to deal with him when he's super active and super hyper. But, I'm like, that's pretty much, that's not the way. So, what would you recommend? Or what type of advice should I give you? I've already sent to your videos and kind of given, her some advice that I've heard you give. What should I do in this situation?
Has she seen any of my videos on the medicine?
I'm not sure if it's in the Spanish to throw my recommendation.
Has she read my book? She either I think you might got to make her sit down and watch some of my videos on the YouTube. I really do. Or either she needs to read my book or both of them. Because I don't think she realizes what she's doing. The other problem too is the fact that with him doing that medicine, she don't have to worry about the school bothering her, and she ain't got to really worry about being bothered by him. So I hope it ain't a case where she don't really care about the side effects, because my life is a little bit easier now because of these drugs. But I think she needs to read my book though. That's what I think the next step is. You have a copy of it?
I do. I'm sure the wife does. Me and her father, you actually donated to your school and all of that. So
appreciate that.
And like I said, I haven't read about your issue. I've heard all of your lectures. And aside from that, I have one other question if I had.
Sure.
All right. I have a daughter that's 6 years old. She's in a Catholic school. I probably do more homeschooling than what she's actually getting done in school. But my concern is the religious aspect. Now, the reason I send her there is because, smaller classroom sizes, it's a little bit more structured than what I've seen in, public schools. I've actually used to work in the public schools. So I wanted her to be, in a situation where, it would be more about academics and education and there's everything else going on. At the same time, I don't really do religion, and I don't want to really get her caught up in religion or even to understand the different aspects of religion until she's old enough to understand this. She can, if she wants to go in a different direction, as far as religion is concerned, she can choose. I don't want it forced on her, but I know putting her in the Catholic school may be a mistake, and so I'm just always just, I have to try to unlearn things picking up during the course of, a day in school. But what do you recommend in this situation?
I mean, if that's the best school that you could find academically, then you may have to, leave her there, but make sure that you educate her about the religious aspect so she doesn't internalize none of that doctrine. You don't want that white Jesus to, be conditioned into her unconscious. You could also, talk to the school and see if they could, excuse her from some of the religious activities and classes. A lot of private schools don't do that though. They want the kids to be, indoctrinated, but it doesn't hurt to ask, because some of them will respect your wishes. So I would talk to them. I would talk to them about it. And you said she's 6 years old right now?
Yeah, she's just 6, kindergarten, but she's been for this is her 3rd year. She was there for 2 years in pre-K.
Okay. My only concern about her being so young is that white Jesus being embedded in her mind. as, you know, I would have probably preferred that she go a little older when you could have, you know, pretty much given her a strong black consciousness foundation so she could, be, you know, be psychologically defend against that a little bit better. But going so young now,
she can stay at home because, like I said, that's, you know,
okay. I got you.
She can stay at home. That's like I say, she probably gets more homeschooling than she does.
I got you.
Schooling, like I, you know, explain to my wife, you know what I mean? The only thing we really want the school to teach her is math and sciences and things of that nature. We're going to pretty much teach her our history, you know what I mean? Really not force religion on her because, again, I don't want her, you know, too caught up in that. But at the same time, she does have a lot of questions. And I'm sure when I go into school, I get these funny looks because she probably went back and, you know, repeated some of the things that I've said in regards to, you know, religion and white Jesus and, you know, these images they have all over the school. So yeah, she's getting that part from home, like I say, because it's just that conflict, you know, so I don't want to, you know, too much, hopefully, you know, it's not too much on at this age, you know, where she's getting this information and I'm using some of these teachings, and hopefully I'm the bigger influence than what they are at the moment when it comes to that.
Right. I got you. I'm with that plan. I think we'll be all right with that.
All right, well, man, appreciate you, man. Yeah, have a good one. Keep doing what you're doing.
No doubt. Thanks a lot, bro. And thanks for the donations. I appreciate that. Is there another question on the call this morning? This afternoon?
I'm back. I'm sorry. Hello?
Yes, ma'am. The young lady, you're back about your brother, correct?
Yeah, my phone failed.
Yeah. I think in his case, because he's following them to fit in, I'm sorry, he's back in Colorado with your sister. The question I was going to ask you is, do you think he's okay with that? Because even though he's back at a school that he likes, he's now separated from his family, though. See, that's the new issue. Hold that thought. Can somebody mute the phone? Whoever got the beautiful babies in the background playing, could y'all mute the phone, please? Okay, go ahead, sis.
I told my mom asked him before he went, like, we're not forcing you to go. We're not saying we don't want you here. It's just your mom's gonna come, but we want you to start school. Are you okay with that? And he said, yeah, I'm okay. Like, he was packing his bag, like, he was ready to go. So he's fine with it.
Okay. So
but
is he?
Now my mom just got a call from my sister. Like, he already asked up there. He was just asking on girl cows. Like, I don't know how to get him to respect himself, respect his work. I don't understand. I try to talk to him and tell him. Like, I had a hard time in high school. I personally was gonna drop out. I was gonna drop out, and I told him, you don't want to be like me. You don't want to do the things I've done. Like, do better. Do better than what my dad said first. That's what I always tell him. He just doesn't get it.
I got you. You know what? Is he going to school? Is he going to school so far?
Yeah, she's going to school. We call him every day. Come get me.
Okay, y'all can't baby him up though. I think we got to give it a couple weeks and see what happens. But I will say this: if your sister can't control him, he gonna have to come back to Vegas. If your sister, because he can get into a lot more trouble not being properly supervised. I'm more concerned about life outside of school in Colorado. Excuse me. I'm more concerned with life outside of school in Colorado than I am about life in school in Vegas. I'd rather him be a follower and try to fit in where y'all can see him and make sure he ain't doing nothing wrong, as opposed to him doing whatever he wants with his sister. So y'all gonna have to watch that, because y'all might have to bring him back home. In fact, y'all want to let him know too. You know, this is probationary. If you act like you can't function out here, we gonna snatch you back.
Okay.
You know.
All right. And also, I just wanted to tell you, I just started watching like the other day, like a couple weeks ago, and we have taught me a lot. I really do appreciate you so much. Like, I'm getting my mom and dad interviews. Like, you taught me a lot. I just, like, really started getting into learning my own history about my own people and our own struggles. So, thank you so much. You really do touch people out here. You touch me. So, thank you so much.
Thank you, Princess. I appreciate it, and keep up the good work.
Yeah. Have a great day.
You too. Is there another question?
Bye. Yes, hello.
Peace and love, sister. Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Virginia.
Virginia. Go right ahead.
Yes, so last year my son was in kindergarten. He was bullied into special education. So when I didn't conform, there's a lot of retaliation. It's been suspended every other week. And they even had the police up at the school pulling him out of the class and, that type of thing. So I filed some complaints to the school board, and they never really did nothing. So then I went to the civil rights people and filed a complaint who have now accepted and taken on discrimination situation with the school.
Okay.
So we have mediation next week. I was hoping you could give us some advice. My son's in the first grade now. I've taken him out of that school. But, I practically lost my job, dealing with the other school. And
Wait. He's in the first grade. What was the mediation for? What is the mediation for? Did they try to put him in special ed? Like, what is the disagreement over?
Well, I felt like we were being bullied.
Was he a special ed kid? Was he in special ed?
He had never even been tested.
Okay, so
He had never been tested.
Okay, so when you say they're trying to bully you, what, they want him in special ed? Like, I'm still not clear on what the mediation is over.
They were trying to push, every week we were having a meeting, and they were pushing it really, really hard. And, at that time, they wanted me to just sign instead of him being tested. So they just wanted me to go ahead and say, okay, yeah, maybe he has a problem, I should put him here.
And the mediation is for you to get them to back off?
No. The mediation is because after the school board did nothing, I complained to the Office of Civil Rights.
Okay, after the school board did nothing about what? After the school board did nothing about what?
About my complaints of the behavior from the school, which they had my son was being counseled by the male janitor in the school. He was having private sessions with the janitor they were sending him to. They had the police pull him out of class and harass him. This is a kindergarten.
Okay.
First year of school.
Okay. So the mediation... Okay, so it's about stuff that happened in the past, not what's going on now, correct?
We are no longer with the school, but, I had to take him away from there because of how we were being treated.
I'm just wondering if you need to be suing the school versus a mediation. Because if they had the janitor doing counseling with your son, that's illegal. I'm wondering if you should be suing instead of a mediation.
I'm looking to, and I assume that was going in the right chain of command with the U.S. Department of Education. So,
okay.
They have called a mediation between the school system and myself, whereas the U.S. Department of Education, one of the commissioners there, is going to be mediating.
Okay. I think you're good then. I would just see it out. I would see it out because it's about stuff in the past, not nothing that's actively affecting him now. So I would just hear it out, but I really think it's a lawsuit. I really think it's a lawsuit. I would do the mediation. Don't sign no paperwork, though. Say that again?
I said exactly right. That's exactly where we're going with this, with the lawsuit. So
don't sign any paperwork at the mediation. You got to be careful at the mediation now, because the fact that you did that mediation, you got to be real careful. Because, like...
This is not my mediation. This is from the commissioner with the U.S. Department of Education, who feels like the school was in violation of the discrimination that they did. Because,
No.
there was a lot more things that happened.
No, I got you. But what I'm saying is this, though.
Right.
Okay? Be careful what you sign, because with a mediation, if you agree that it's been resolved, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll give you a form to sign saying that the issue has been resolved, which precludes you from being able to sue sometimes. So be careful.
In which they tried to do, and the commissioner just called me the other day and she said, well, I heard from the school that the issues were resolved. And I said, well, who told you that?
Yeah, I don't...
Well, the school. And I said, no, we're still on. I'm still going forward. And she said, okay, well, I have this date available. I'm going to contact the school board or whomever is showing in their place to let them know the date and time in which we go for Monday. But, maybe I'm misunderstanding what this mediation is about. It's nothing that I brought about. I filed a complaint with the Division of Civil Rights. They responded back. They said, yes, the school violated the laws, and, this is the first step.
I got you. Okay. So yeah, just be careful with that. Be careful with that, and keep me posted on what happens.
Yes, sir. Of course.
All right.
Thank you so much, Dr. Umar.
Thank you, Queen.
I've been trying to get in contact with you. It's totally a blessing to get on social media and to hear you all live helping the people. And I just want to tell everybody everything. All your lectures and videos that you were saying about special education, how they pushed it.
Yeah.
Like, I never imagined that it's this serious, but what I went through with my kindergartner, it's sad. It's totally sad how they pushed that agenda. Like, they literally wanted me to just sign him in there without him having to be tested. So come to find out, when he was tested, he was above reading level and above in math. He was above, he was the top 3 in the kindergarten class, first grade.
I got you.
So, if I was one of those mothers and like, oh yeah, just go ahead and sign him away, get their special education. But now at the gun school, I'm sure the principals talking to each other and the school board members, so they kind of like offering a lot of the school gifted courses and different things,
Got you. Well, keep me posted on that. Let me know how that works out for you, love.
Keep doing your thing.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate you. Okay. I'm going to take a few more calls to let everyone know we're coming to the end of tonight's broadcast. It's 7:30, so we're going to go until 8 o'clock. So Dr. Umar Johnson can go and find something to eat here in Buffalo, New York. If anybody knows of any black-owned restaurants in Buffalo that I can try, feel free to text me that, 215-989-9858. My Buffalo, New York people, shout out to Rochester, shout out to Auburn, shout out to all Albany, shout out to all the upstate New York towns. I hope to see all y'all tomorrow here in Buffalo as well. But I need a black restaurant ASAP because I'm a little hungry and Big Papa got to eat. But let me go to the next call. Is there another question on the call?
There is another question on the call. Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Where are you calling from, sister?
I'm calling from Hartford, Connecticut.
Hartford. Go right ahead.
So my question is, I have daughters, and I have my oldest daughter. She is deaf, developmentally and intellectually delayed. My question is, for the past 10 months, I've fought the powers that be here in Connecticut in terms of services for her. I've been successful on most fronts. But my question is, what I found is that many of the initiatives that are in place here in Connecticut are for kids who are on the spectrum. And so the problem I ran into is that because my daughter is not autistic and did not fall on the spectrum, that services for her became extremely limited. Not only that, there were no initiatives in Connecticut for children like myself, and the population of Black people in Connecticut is large. How do I go about creating those initiatives as part of my plan to support other parents
like myself. Because it's unfortunate. One of the things I found to be outstanding is that the services that my daughter required, the Department for Families and Children here in Connecticut, their take on it was, well, they want families to trade custody for services. It's an idea I had never heard about. Was just blown away when I was asking for services and kind of met other parents, and they kind of gave me the information and just said, it's, they want to trade custody for services.
What do you mean trade custody for service? What do you mean by that?
Well, they have different divisions of the department called voluntary services. So voluntary services doesn't mean that you are incapable of caring for your child. Voluntary services is supposed to be in place for parents who need certain services for their children but cannot access them on their own. But what happens is, because the Department of Family and Children and Families, it's a protective service by nature. So they have a protective agency servicing families who actually want their children but just need help with them. So they just automatically assume that we want to relinquish our children for these services, and so I fought them. I was threatened by the ombudsman for DCS, just because I said, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to advocate on my daughter's behalf. I testified at the Legislative Office building here in our town. I've done interviews with WNPR. My concern is that enough parents don't know, because how did they come to this conclusion that most parents just want to trade custody, or we're going to put enough pressure on them until the point that they just want to trade custody? How do we go about fixing that here in Connecticut? How do I myself spearhead that? Because I don't want other moms who don't know accept that as an answer. There are families here who have traded custody for services because they had no other choice.
Right. I think that you might want to think about coming to our next conference for the Black Parent Association in January and start a chapter. I said, I think you may want to come to our next training conference for the National Independent Black Parent Association, because it sounds like you need to start a chapter up there in Connecticut where you are to help us organize the parents so we can fight for the things that you're talking about. So I think the next step is to start organizing those parents. Our next conference is going to be in January. I haven't decided on the location yet, but I should have all that information by the 1st of October. So you guys will have 3 months to plan to be there. But I would love to see you there and become part of the family.
I absolutely love that. I think it's, very critical, something that's happening here. I've learned so much in this journey. My daughter was out of our home for 7 months. She spent 2 of those months in the emergency room, receiving no services, no interpreting services. I fought for everything that she has up until this point. I mean, the services were so bad here in Connecticut, they had to move her to Rhode Island just to be able to accommodate her needs. Right. There's something wrong with that picture.
Right, yeah. Something is definitely wrong with that picture. Okay, now I understand what you meant when you said exchange custody for service. In other words, give us custody so we can put her in a residential school and service her. But that ain't nothing but a trap to get the kids out the home, and so they can get increased monies. And it also sets up a situation where they could try to take you to court and say that this child needs to be with us full time. So you got to watch that type of stuff. They've been selling black kids into slavery since slavery. So we need to be very careful about letting our kids go away just to receive those services. That's a good point you bring up, though. That's a real good point.
It's a scary thought. I just appreciate you. I thank you for what you're doing. I thank you for your courage. And just standing up in a time where, it's just detrimental. And more of us need to stand up with you, because you can't do it by yourself. I can't do it here in Connecticut by myself, but I believe that, this story definitely needs to be heard. Thankfully, our story has been picked up. A journalist, kind of heard our story, and they did, part of their documentary on our story. So hopefully other families will be able to. They are not alone. they are not alone, and that you don't have to fight this alone, and that you can seek services to help you, rest situations with your children. So I'll definitely be at the conference in January, and I'll plan accordingly now for that. And again, I just want to say thank you for everything that you're doing, all the things that, are to come, and definitely praying for you.
Got you. Thanks a lot, sweetheart. Thanks so much.
No problem. Have a good night. Thanks again.
You too now. Is there another question on the call?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Toledo, Ohio.
Toledo, Ohio, a place where I have never been. So I need to get a venue in Toledo. Cause, yeah, I need you to help me find a venue out there.
Well, I'm not new here to myself, but I've only been here maybe like 4 years so far.
You've been there long enough.
Well, I just want
I'm picking with you.
to
Go ahead.
get to my question.
Sure.
I have a 6-year-old, and the previous year I entered him into the TPS schools here at Toledo Public Schools, and as soon as he was in that school system, he wasn't even there 2 weeks, and his kindergarten teacher at that time was speaking about his attendance, his attentive issues, saying that, he's not paying attention to what she's saying, and, basically trying to hint to ADHD. So at that time, since I do have 2 other children, I had to take my son out of school because, me and my husband, he has the one car. I needed another car to make sure we could get him to school. So I took him out of school to homeschool for that whole kindergarten year. Now, I've gotten him to read. He does math. He knows a lot of things. He's even right now in school, in 1st grade, reading above his class level. So I'm very proud of that much. But he's in 1st grade with the same school, new teacher, and they're still trying to push that same thing, even though she notices that he reads above his class level. She's just saying that he has an attention problem. And I sat in one of his class sessions past Wednesday, just to observe what she's saying. She sent him, she spoke to my husband a couple times when he got picked up from school, saying that he's breaking pencil class. Saying that that's part of his problem, that, he's sitting at the desk, she goes to the desk, and he has, broken pencils in his little cubby hole of his desk. And I'm, questioning that, saying, okay, I've sent him to school with his own pencils now, so let's see if it happens again. I spoke to my son honestly and asked him, had you done any breaking of pencils today? Did you have a good day at school? He said, no, Mom, it was good. I did my own pencils. I'm fine. But she said different once I got to speak to her, saying, oh, no, he's, still broke pencils. But just to make it short, she to say there is some kind of problem, and I need to get him checked out for ADHD. I don't know where to hit that off at, because I don't want them to keep pushing that on me when, I'm not as knowledgeable in that area. Some kind of direction to go.
Well, first of all, if you get your son evaluated, you're giving them permission to, control this whole situation with a diagnosis. Also, if you get him evaluated and they diagnose him with ADHD, they can now force the medication on you because he now has a diagnosis, and you want to watch that. Because if you don't medicate after he gets the diagnosis, they can charge you with child neglect. It's called medical neglect, and they can take your children from you. So getting that evaluation can open up the door to a whole bunch of nonsense that you don't want to deal with. Your whole thing and your husband's thing is y'all don't want him evaluated, period. We don't believe in ADHD. We will not be getting him evaluated. Furthermore, ADHD is a psychiatric diagnosis. It is not a special ed diagnosis. So the only way he could get that label is if y'all take them to a clinic or a psychologist outside of school. We do not diagnose ADHD in the school. We don't. So there's no way he can get that label unless y'all take him somewhere to get it. So as long as y'all stand on y'all square, there's nothing they can do. Now you might have to write a letter and tell them we've received your requests, we declined your requests, and we don't want to be harassed no more. You might have to put your foot down. The other thing you can do, since they're complaining, is you can also hire a mental health professional. That could be a school psychologist. That could be a regular psychologist. That could be a behavior specialist. That could be a professional counselor. That could be a licensed social worker. You could hire them to go into the school and observe your son in the classroom. This is very powerful. This is very powerful because when they go into the school to observe your child in the classroom, they can then come back to you and to the school and say, we don't see anything dysfunctional about this boy's behavior. Yeah, he's a little hyper. He's a little inattentive because he's a 6-year-old boy. That's what they do. It's called normal behavior. But if you get a professional to go in and observe your son and then sit down with you and the father and the principal and the teacher and give the results and impressions of their observation, which is to basically say, I don't see a problem here. It's just a regular kid doing what regular kids do. There's no need for an ADHD eval. You shut them down completely. You shut them down completely because I've done it. Go ahead.
When I went to observe him the day I went in class with him, they had the school, I guess, introduced the psychiatrist into the situation. But the thing is, they did not say anything about that psychiatrist observing my son. They gave it off as if he's there or she's there to observe someone else's child. So I wasn't sure for sure if, is she really here for my child and they're just trying to say she's here for someone else?
Oh, quite possibly. But here's the thing.
I just wanted to know okay.
That psychologist cannot do anything with or to your child without your written permission. Okay, you have to give sign. I'm a certified school psychologist. I cannot do any work with anybody's child without their signed permission, including observation. Now, under the new special ed law, they do give you some room to kind of operate in terms of observations without parent permission, but it's very touchy ground, and you really want to have signed permission before you do anything like that. But I really think the way you neutralize this is to have that person come in and do the observation. And when they go in to do the observation, you want them to observe on 3 different days, 3 different weeks, 3 different times. So in other words, week one, Monday, 8 o'clock, reading. Week 2, Wednesday, 11 o'clock, math. Week 3, Friday, 2 o'clock, social studies. And the reason you want to do at least three is because you want to rule out any possibility that the one observation was purely due to chance. In other words, if your son had a really, really bad day and the person only came to observe one day, your son will look worse than what he was. And on the flip side, if he had a really, really good day and that person only came to observe on one day, then he can look better than what he normally is. So you want them to do a couple of observations, and it shouldn't cost you a lot of money. Make sure you get this person. Do not ask the school for no recommendations because they will set you up. I would start with the Association of Black Psychologists, and I'm going to give you the number now. You can contact them and see what referrals they will have in your area. You can also contact the Ohio chapter of the Association of Black Psychologists. But it doesn't have to be a psychologist. It could be a social worker, counselor, behavior specialist as well. So you can Google some of them in your area, but you can really shut them down by bringing someone else in. And guess what? That person may go in and observe your child's class and might find out your child ain't even the biggest problem. They might say, hey, there's 2 kids in there that's way worse than this kid, and that's who y'all need to be focusing on. Like, they can really shed a lot of light on what's really going on in that class, because let's face it, teachers lie, teachers exaggerate, and if the teacher don't look like us, they really going to exaggerate. So you need to get somebody in there. to really let you know what's going on. You ready for the number? I'm going to give you the number to ABC.
Yes, I'm ready.
It's 301 449 3082.
Okay, I just have one more question.
Sure.
As far as when you said that I can sort of like refuse them trying to get my son diagnosed with ADHD.
Yes.
From that point, can they say anything as far as him still attending that school with that teacher?
Is this a public or charter school?
It is a public school.
Then no, they cannot discriminate against you because you chose not to get your child evaluated. That's a public school. You cannot force a parent to evaluate their child. You can't. And they cannot mistreat you or discriminate against you because you chose not to medicate. That could be a lawsuit. That could be a lawsuit in and of itself. No, they cannot remove him. Now, the school he's at, is that a neighborhood school? Is that his neighborhood school?
Yes, it is. Right.
Yeah, they can't do nothing. They can't do nothing. Refuse it and refuse it in writing. And that should be the end of the story. But I would still, even after I refuse it, I would still get somebody to go and observe, because refusing it is only half the battle. You need to shut them down. You feel me? And shutting them down is getting somebody to go in that classroom and observe your son and say, hey, I'm not seeing nothing but a complaining ass teacher. You got me on that? You still there, sis? Yes.
No. Yeah, I just wanted to say I got you on all of that, and I just didn't expect to speak with you at all, but I really appreciate your advice. I've been going through this for a minute, and I've been upset, and I've been trying to express it to my husband. He's understanding of it, but I just really have taken pride in educating my own child at home, and he's done way past what I expected for his age.
Gotcha.
And I just thank you for your advice, and I will definitely follow through with it.
No problem. No problem. So we are down to our final 4 questions. I'm gonna take 4 more. So who has a question? Or we might be done. Are we done? Okay. I think we might be done. I want to let everybody know that we will still have our Tuesday morning call. So we will be back on Tuesday. Every single Tuesday, Dr. Umar Johnson conducts the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad is the secret society that we have to help kidnap our kids out of special ed, kidnap our kids away from ADHD, kidnap our kids away from the discipline schools, kidnap our kids away from psychiatric meds. So we will be back Tuesday morning. And I think I am going to drive to Detroit. I think I'm going to drive to Detroit after my Buffalo lecture to look at those schools. I think I'm going to go ahead and for the